Yeah, so John, take it away.
Okay, I will do so. I don't know if I'll take it away, but I will.
Yeah.
I know it's going to come up where I don't want it to, and it always does. All right, here we are with Visual Arts Passage and a new logo, by the way. So we're sporting all kinds of goods tonight. Here, as always, Visual Arts Passage is bringing our open drawing night, our illustration isolation night. We had a great crew with us tonight. I think I introduced everybody once. I'll be introducing them individually. We're going to be doing a few couple special things tonight, a little bit differently, but we're going to get drawing pretty quickly. Here's our this is where we are in our open drawing night. I wanted to give one more thank you to Art House and Richard Allen for letting us use his work for the last month. He was incredibly kind to do that. He's a wonderful photographer and just excellent work. So,
John, be honest. Did you just forget to remove it?
No, I know.
I'm just teasing.
You can see I have a new slide in here.
Okay, all right.
Month, be patient. For the next month, we're going to be featuring underdogs. And Ray, we put this out to the people that continually draw with us, and Raymond Bonilla, of all people, responded almost immediately with the Tuskegee Airmen. And so tonight we're going to be drawing reference from, obviously our photo reference will be from actual Tuskegee Airmen, and we're going to give you a little background with each of them. Terry Brown is here with us tonight, ex-director extraordinaire from the Society of Illustrators in New York, that is going to do a few minutes of explanation. It's something that hit home with him, that he's pulling some things full circle for us, which I think will be entertaining in between poses. And it's draw time. Ray is going to draw first tonight. You can access the reference at visualartspassage.com/photos. In between poses, please post your work. Please post on Instagram and Facebook. So I think we're ready to go.
Yeah, we should be ready. The photos are in order, so it is left to right. That's the order that we'll be doing the reference in. And yeah, so the first photo, John, it's up.
Fantastic. I'll stop sharing and let the people start drawing and introduce Ray.
Well, you know, John, you shouldn't be surprised, because it took an underdog to to grab the underdog theme of all time. So,
oh man.
So are you saying you're an underdog?
In this case, yes, especially if I'm opening up for Chris Payne. That's never a good thing. I do want to thank you for putting me in that situation yet again.
Well, so, it's better than following Chris Payne.
That's true. That is true.
And John, kind of as I think we're doing this first pose, were you planning to kind of, because I think there are probably a few people in the audience who maybe are joining us for the first time or are from outside of the States that maybe don't know this story. Were you guys planning to crack that open for the first pose? This
pose is of Airman Edward GLEED, and he was one of the first part of the 9th Cavalry, and graduated from. Actually, I think most importantly, Terry, you're going to get a kick out of this. He graduated from the University of Kansas, and then went on and went in 1941, became a Tuskegee Airman. And I'm going to let Terry, I don't want to get too far into the story about the Tuskegee Airmen. We'll just kind of give highlights of Edward. I know that Ray has a few things to say about him, maybe. and first thing that I'm going to ask Ray is, Why did you choose that photo?
I think I chose the photo because it was just had a really nice sense of light and shadow on the face. There was a lot of, it's definitely a posed photo, but it just had, kind of like this sort of classical layout of shapes, and I just love the intertwining of like the shapes of like the helmet going into sort of the radio equipment, and then the jacket, the flight jacket, the parachute, and then I just love like the shirt and tie underneath all of that, I thought it was just really sort of a classy photo, and that's the way I always think of the Tuskegee Airmen. It's just like completely like in the face of adversity, like completely just the classiest group of pilots you probably ever see. So that's why.
Ray, without going too far, the this was the first African American pilots in our U.S. military, and they. I don't want to take away any of Terry's thunder because he's got a much better explanation and done much more.
John and I, to add context, John and I don't really put together book reports really well every week. This has been a really great learning experience for both of us because we both got to learn a lot. And this is it's an amazing subject to learn about.
Absolutely, this is Edward GLEED dedicated 33 years of his life to 30 plus years of his life to the military, and had an amazing life and experience. The things that he went through, the things he dealt with, the things that he accomplished. He kept at when he left the military at the age of 60, he went to law school and graduated law school. So I think it's just a really interesting, these are ultra competitive individuals, an extreme, the extremists. And you imagine, we joke all the time about taking chances as artists. these guys were the real McCoy, and Edward lived a huge life. And I without, again, I really don't want to step on Terry's toes.
Go ahead and stop.
I will stop.
Stop.
Yeah.
With an M.
So let's talk about the artwork. What are you working in tonight?
So I'm working in Photoshop. I'm working in just black and white values and in grays. I'm still kind of enjoying working like that. Just kind of blocking things in, big shapes and whatnot, and just trying to get an overall feel for things. And before I really start to get into sculpting kind of the light and shadow throughout these things. I just want to say, like, I think that the most riskiest thing I ever did as an artist was maybe wear like a nice shirt to go into the studio with. So these guys are like, superheroes. So it's so cool too.
Right? The riskiest thing I've ever done is I sat in between Chris Payne and Gary Kelly at Lifetime. Accidentally. Didn't realize what I had done. Chris, maybe you could chime in on this a little bit. It's really fun going back and looking at the photography that's associated with this, because so much of it is shot. Well, most of what we're looking at is in black and white. There was some color shots, but we're looking at great black and white photography, and and being in the airfield, a lot of it is outside and directional with sunlight. I know that you're a big fan of baseball photography. I mean, can you say a few words about that, Chris?
Yeah, well, I mean, they are using natural light, which normally is your best light. And, the cameras, of course, that they were using back in those days also with these lenses were just spectacular. So, I mean, I bet you right now, what we're looking at on our screen and our cell phones, wherever it is, I mean, what's amazing is you can blow this thing up and still get to see so much detail in this because it's all there. The lenses and the photographers that were shooting this stuff were just total pros. And you know, even in, as Ray said, this has a bit of a pose quality to it, but there's such a sense of light and life to it that really makes it a fun picture to draw. I mean, there's everything is in it: shadow, form shadow, cast shadow, good lighting, good composition, where the fuselage of the P-51 Mustang is coming down and crossing where his head is. It's just really a nice composition. All you have to do is draw it. You know, it's just, that's it. This is so good. All you have to do is draw it. Just don't mess it up.
You know, and the reality of the cameraman that day at the Tuskegee Air Base, shooting 36 pilots and their planes and the ground staffs and group shots, shooting them one at a time, then as groups, no doubt as contact sheets, if anyone knows what those used to be. Imagine the amount of film that they went through that then had to be processed in a mobile studio where they had to bring in their chemicals and create these contact sheets and then pick the pictures from there that would be made into 8x10 prints for whatever use it was. They were an important effort in the war, and they were moderately well supported at the beginning, but it became a challenge when you get 2 more tanks and 1 less photographer that chose the tanks. So I think we're blessed to have really dedicated photographers with limited equipment and limited support, creating quite a deluge of images of World War II, and these are just beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, over the years, there have been some books, whether it's about the Tuskegee Airmen or the Memphis Belle or other well-known divisions, because by this time, you know, the War Department was doing a pretty good job of documenting. You know, this documentation of military figures has been going on since, you know, Matthew Brady and artists before that. And then you have the whole series of artists who actually would go into the field and draw. So the fact that we've got good stuff is more and more being realized as more and more of it's being published. And I think
if any of the students have an interest, or any of your pros too have an interest in that on the field, in the action artist today, the Norman Rockwell Museum just had a seminar. I'm sure it's online on their site.
right.
Victor Uhas and 3 other people, mostly in the Marine Corps, and the reality of being embedded in recent years, and mostly in the Mideast, about
You can probably see, there was a PBS series, you probably can find it on YouTube also, on the World War II guys, and that film was called They Drew Fire. And you could probably find it on YouTube and watch it. It's a pretty fascinating program.
Sure. John, I think your students also may be looking at this and not putting 2 and 2 together, that Tuskegee is in Alabama. Alabama's down south. It's hot there even today. This guy's got a leather jacket on, heavy woolen shirt, gloves, tight fitting hat. Could be 85 degrees out there. But that's what he's going to wear when he gets up at the airport.
He's lucky if it's 85 degrees.
Yeah. And now he's got a training to go up in an airplane where when he's up 10, 12,000 feet high over Norway, it's going to be a little cold. So that's the reality of what he was wearing. Is I would think part of your imagery.
Right.
Oh yeah, they were talking about, you know, they had a program recently on PBS about the Memphis Belle. They were talking about those guys when they're flying up there at 20,000 feet. It's getting, you know, 40 below zero up there.
Wow, 40 below zero. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, well, I mean, all you have to, if you've ever flown,
Yeah.
when you've flown recently and that, or even not that recently, you can, oftentimes your flight will have, an information panel in front of you, and they'll list the temperature, and you'll see oftentimes it's 40, 50 degrees, 60 degrees below zero. When you get up way up in the altitudes, well over 20,000 feet, it gets damn cold fast.
Right. And so embedding artists, is that, I mean, did that start in with World War One, or did that, I mean, where did that start with? It's, I mean, the first instance that I can think of is, besides like reportage illustration of like, like Winslow Homer doing stuff for like the Civil War, and was like Harvey Dunn and a lot of the Brandywine artists going out there in World War One and just covering their, covering the war effort. Was that kind of the first instance of it, or did it predate it, or?
Well, actually, what you're saying is right about Winslow Homer during the Civil War, but he was on commission to Harper's Weekly. He was doing that for a purpose.
He was a journalist.
He was a real journalist. By the time he
Right.
got to, and Remington during the Spanish-American War, he was doing them for Colliers and Scribners. Yes, by the time he got to World War I, Harvey Dunn and that group, they were doing it for the military just to document its role. And during World War II, they did document the role at the beginning, but then, as I said, 3 tanks, 1 artist, we'll take the 3 tanks. And it was Life magazine that stepped up and said, we'll pay the artists just to go out and give us what they see. There was very little in Korea. There was almost none in Vietnam as far as reportage, but we're seeing more of it now, which is kind of good for the military to get a different take, an artistic take on the mayhem.
I mean, it's quite incredible to just hear stories of artists embedded in war like that. I mean, I know I've talked to Vic Juarez about it, and the stories that he tells me, it's quite incredible. There's so many crazy stories. Harvey Dunn in like foxholes and just trying to survive a bombardments, and then from that to like John Singer Sargent being in like the trenches and being annoyed at gunfire around him because it must have been disturbing his ability to concentrate. Not a different time, I guess, in terms of it must have been sort of like, I don't know if it was like exciting for them. I'm sure like World War One, and almost like you had a lot of like
like I said, Ray, like I said, if you get a chance to try to find it see if it's available on YouTube. They Drew Fire.
They Drew Fire. Okay.
That was the name of the documentary film. And it's really quite powerful because just exactly what you're saying, each artist had different takes on it. One artist was saying trying to actually draw in combat was impossible. He couldn't do it. He showed you what his sketch was, and it was kind of like illegible. Whereas, as I recall, Howard Brody, Terry, you can probably tell some Howard Brody stories. He was like, no problem. He had no problem drawing in it. So it varied. Right.
Yeah, I remember seeing Howard Brody's sketchbooks at the Academy of Art. I think it was Howard Brody who didn't he donate all the sketchbooks and everything like that, to a good amount of his stuff to the Academy of Art in San Francisco? Or am I thinking of someone else?
That sounds like Howard Brody. He was a San Francisco guy, and he ended up being a courtroom artist the rest of his life, which made sense because he could take one look at somebody and draw them.
Yeah, and that's an incredible facility to be able to do that. And that wasn't just like pose, it was people just in a tent hanging out. Like, I mean the most like you know, sort of slice of life moments, like in between the craziness of like war, and it takes I think it's a, you have to kind of want to be able to work at that type of clip in terms of speed. But I mean, I think it's like a whole nother type of training too. I mean,
Well, as I said, if you listen to what these guys were telling their stories, Koeb was one of the artists. I don't know whether he was alive at the time when they made that film, but it's really well worth watching.
I've got it written down off to the side here. I just put it on my phone. They drew fire.
Yeah, I remember when I was working with Terry at Society of Illustrators as the museum chair. I was writing to see about trying to get a show of that art at the society, but again, working through governments and trying to go through red tape just proved to be a mountain I could not climb.
Right.
Hey, Ray, explain why you just flipped it.
Oh, well, it's great. That's a great question, John. I am not good enough to spot all of my errors, and so regularly. So what I do is I flip it so I can get a fresh view of things. It's akin to having a mirror in your studio and looking at your piece in reverse along with uh, the reference, and it just helps you. My eye gets tired, and it's. I mean, especially these Thursdays because it's just right after I teach, and so uh, I'll flip it back and forth to kind of view things. Some artists don't, you know, don't like doing that. They say like if it looks good one way, it should look good the other way. But um, I don't trust myself, and I think that I would use that as an excuse. You know, it looks, you know, and so uh, the excuse to cover up my bad drawing. And so I'll do this every so often so I can get a nice sort of accurate view of things.
You see it fresh and reevaluate what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm always just trying to look at it with that fresh analytical eye. So I'm constantly comparing and contrast. And if my eye gets tired, it will do that less and less and kind of settle. And I don't want to settle, especially early on when I'm trying to set up this portrait, because I want all of the major elements in place before I really start to get into sort of the detailed parts. If you know, if I have time, but I know that if I get the major elements, it'll look good, and that's why I flip them.
Ray, can I ask you two questions about if you had enough time to do this to a total finish? Two details. Would you be focusing on them? Would you think they were important? I'll draw your attention to his collar, his shirt collar. On the right-hand side as we look at it, so it would be Mr. G's left collar. There's some metallic stuff there. If you know it, that's the rank of captain symbol.
Oh yeah.
With the railroad tracks.
Oh yeah. This stuff right here.
Yeah. This was an African American in 1943, and he's a captain. Egad. Right. And then the other thing, would you add that? And the other thing I hope I could say is, are you going to make sure that he is interpreted as an African American for sure?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is just basically, right now I'm just setting up like major values that's and mostly like in the face, it's the values are kind of wrong. And I'm going to put a glaze over the whole thing. So I'm just getting the shapes at this point. And some of these other areas, I'm actually going to move this little, this harness thing just so I'm going to move it maybe around there so I can actually concentrate on the captain's thing right on his collar right here. I think that's a cool idea. Terry, this is why we need you. This is why we need you, Terry.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm working for Geographic, you know? This is the closest I'll ever get.
Yeah, you know, instead of bombs going off, you have other artists harassing you in the
Yeah.
telling you what to draw,
And non-artists.
or non-artists.
Yeah.
Just
No,
throw it
no, because
I become an art director. Oh no.
yeah, no, isn't
Coming
it,
along, Ray.
Isn't it? Hey, what's up, Donnie? Isn't it like if you work for National Geographic, you get paired with like a researchers and historians and whatnot to make sure everything you're doing is like accurate. Anybody here work for Geographic? Because I National Geographic. Sorry,
I was interviewed to get hired at National Geographic when I was in college, and
Wow.
yeah, it was really exciting. And it was I was in France at the time, and I had a Zoom meeting.
Real?
A Zoom meeting for the interview 12 years ago.
What?
12 years ago, not
12
Zoom.
years ago.
Not Zoom. It was like Skype or it was
Okay.
Skype, and the call dropped halfway through, and then I never heard from anyone from National Geographic again.
Well, Timmy, maybe the call didn't drop.
No, yeah, it was just kind of like what, like trying to call back. Oh man, that was a rough night.
Timmy, you should have just showed up and gone to work for them and just assumed that they.
That's what my dad would have done.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Pulled
so
out
Ray,
the
Ray, I guess what I was saying is I probably got the closest to possibly being able to answer your question.
John Foster's not here tonight. He works.
Oh,
for
John would have been able
Yeah.
to answer it, but well, he's not here. So
He's not here. Wish he was.
I
But
was
I
just
know-
going to make a smart aleck comment.
I'm glad Don Kilpatrick has also joined us, and so is Dale Stephanos. Thank you for showing up, guys. I appreciate
They will
it.
not be included on the official roll due to their tardiness. So
Well, see,
Oh,
Ray was talking about being paired up for National Geographic and Visual Arts Passage. You're teamed up with another artist that harasses you. So
yeah.
that's my role tonight. So,
We're the National Geographic
Yeah.
of live streams.
we really try to make create a kind of a mercurial relationship between two artists, and we pair them up.
Ray, the timer just went off, but if
Oh,
you
it did?
wanna take
Okay.
another minute or two. I'm really enjoying watching what you're doing here. You wanna
Yeah,
take a
yeah.
minute or two?
Yeah, I might. I definitely will need a minute or two because
Okay.
I might actually. I was actually thinking about playing around with the idea of pulling a John and working at least another sitting on this thing, and it's
John
one of those.
John Foster's not here tonight. By
That's
the way.
No, I think that's a great idea, Ray. I mean, at least two more cities.
yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
guys.
couldn't resist. It was
Have fun. Have
it
fun.
was teed up.
Next time you put all this together and you talk to everybody and time it and answer
Yeah.
the text as they come throughout the
Yeah.
while you're drawing.
You could have saved a lot more time not inviting Don and Dale.
That's right.
Yeah.
oh,
And so I'm going to ask a question to Don and Dale. Dale, I chose all the reference tonight, and Dale, can you stay to the end?
Yeah.
Because I think I'll have you draw last. There's it's very much a portrait. I mean, and I think it would be perfect for you. And Don, you would go third.
wow. Okay, cool. Thanks.
You have the fun of following Chris Payne.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
thank you. Thank you for not giving
See how
me
it
that.
is.
And if either of you don't want to do it, I know Bill Koeb is always here. So if you have to leave or whatever.
No, I'm good for it.
I'm
Yeah,
good.
I appreciate it.
And then John, we can do some logistics in front of everybody.
Okay.
I have a short little presentation for the next image, but I know Terry wants to speak.
Yeah, but we're gonna go. We're gonna
What
go.
order should we do this in?
I think we should go with Terry first.
Perfect.
And
That
so,
would be great. I would. I prefer that.
okay,
Just because that'll I think help me with a lot of context. So
and
this is
plus,
great.
we need
And
context.
plus Terry knows what he's talking about. So,
I did
Yeah.
once.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm still
Yeah.
I'm holding out here for another minute or so.
I do have another question for Don and Dale. What were you guys doing that was so important?
Well, you know, I had to get up. I was opening up my
It came from the audience. It came from the audience. It didn't come
It did.
from
Can I,
Timmy. So
can I,
Yeah, Don's like, I don't open.
It's funny.
can I answer that question for all of you?
Yeah,
They were trying to stay married, is what they did.
yeah.
There you go. There you go.
What are you guys talking about? This is easy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
cinch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoken like a guy who lives next to his house in a trailer,
Yeah.
or at least has
Hey,
at least has an emergency, at least has an exit plan.
I was gonna say, I turned on my video. I am in a home. I'm only occasionally in the trailer outside of my house.
yeah, I was just thinking about that. I really miss Trailer Timmy. You know, I just there's something.
You know what? You know what shut down the illustration isolation scamp trailer was I hired some lawn people to do my yard, and the lawn guy it was my fault. He was just like, I hit an Ethernet cable just like out in your yard. And I was like, yeah, it's for I run internet to my scamp.
Oh, wow.
He was like, all right. It's like,
Hey Ray, this is looking great, by the way.
Amazing.
Yeah, really.
Oh, well, thanks.
And I love the, you know, putting the tone over it and going back. I mean, that's, you know, that's mechanically, that's what I always try to do, you know, physically, it's mechanically the same thing.
Exactly.
I got to be working out of something that's a little darker.
Yeah, I've always, you know, I flip back and forth between this, but I always have enjoyed being able to make my, create my lights out of like a wash of some sort. I always found that to be really helpful to me.
Well, the glaze solidify the shape so much, and the, you know, the all of it, the silhouette of it's much more immediate.
Right. And I could use the you know, the undertone to kind of work my my values. And I like the idea of like reductive, like subtracting things, subtracting the values to get that in. I've always loved like lift outs and things like that. And yeah, so it just creates such a wonderful surface.
Yeah.
Set of marks.
It's easy to control the values for sure.
Totally.
It groups them together.
I thought
Exactly.
this was, sorry to interrupt. I thought this was great. JJ Jackson. We have a couple Air Force families.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
in
Erica.
the house, and Erica at Tuskegee. Erica's tuning in from Alabama Air Force family.
Wow.
And then JJ Jackson, son of a Black Air Force vet. It's terrific. Just
Fantastic.
love having like it's so cool to have so many different people from, you know, that we can do something like this and have people in the room who are like directly connected.
That's awesome.
So,
Okay, so Ray, are you going to continue to work on this through the next pose?
Yeah, I'm gonna make this look really nice. Yeah.
Okay, we're also going to Terry's going to talk for a few minutes now, so let's do that. Let's go. You keep working and listening to Terry.
awesome.
So I am going to share my screen, and just want to say a quick word for those of you that don't know Terry. Terry, for about a quarter of a century, was the director of the New York Society of Illustrators, and has tremendous knowledge of the illustration industry. Somebody who's taught with me a number of times, but he's got a lot of personal interaction with illustrators. And it's kind of interesting because it was the illustrators, the ones that I think a lot of people in this room were chasing. You know, that was kind of his era there. I mean, you were there for the Westport group, and you saw so many of the contemporary illustrators that I was looking at when I was learning at school. and had personal interaction with them. And you got some good stories. So this is
Fortunate. I was fortunate. Yeah.
yeah, this is everybody. This is Terry Brown. Treat him well because he knows his stuff, and I'm really thankful that he's here tonight.
Thank you, John. Thank you. And thanks for a couple of seconds, Timmy, John, and especially Ray for mentioning the Tuskegee Airmen as underdogs. When I saw Tuskegee Airmen, it reminded me very much of a dear friend. When I saw Tuskegee Airmen, I thought of the era that you all know about of World War II, and my friend came out of that. Tuskegee's in southern Alabama. It's as rural as you can get. You can imagine the way it was in 1880 when the locals said they would vote for the white senator if he would start a land grant school in their town. So he said, sure, give me your votes. You can have the land with no buildings on it. They hired Booker T. Washington to be the first superintendent to create the school. As work study, if you went to this school, and of course you were African American if you did, you built the buildings. That was part of your study, was to learn how to build a building. I think that's about as grassroots an institution as you could have. It was not meant to be high end, compete with Yale and Harvard. It was meant to teach locals how to teach the next generation of their African American brothers, sisters, how to be smart, intelligent, and work in the system. Slide, John. By World War II, the Army had a bit of a pickle. They had a number of Black soldiers, naval personnel, and air personnel who wanted to go the next step, and the Army needed them to go the next step, to be trained as high-level officers, to be trained as actual airmen. Can't have them with the white soldiers, so we're going to start a separate place. Where did they go to? They went to 8 different universities around the country, historically Black universities, who had airfields nearby and said, if we bring some teachers in, of course they were white, to teach you how to fly and give you the training you need, you can form units and you can operate in the theaters of Europe, a couple in Asia, mostly in the Pacific, mostly in Europe. And one of them was the 332nd Fighter Group. They were a fighter and bomber squadron. They fought in Europe in the segregated armed forces. They were known as the Tuskegee Airmen because they trained at Tuskegee Air Base. There was one person who, you can go to the slide, John, thanks. This is the guy I know. This is Roy LeGrone. Roy LeGrone grew up in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. At the age of 20, he enlisted in the service during World War II. As a teenager, he said he paid 50 cents to a barnstorming pilot to take him up in a Ford tri-motor airplane, double-winged, went maybe 10 miles an hour tops. When he got up there, Roy said, as soon as I got up there, I knew absolutely that was what I wanted to do the rest of my life. He goes into the service. He's a sergeant. He gets appointed to Tuskegee, gets his officer badge. He learns how to be a pilot. His first assignment was with the 318th Air Base Squadron, commissioned as a flight officer. That squadron was then transferred to Italy. In one of the interviews that Roy did for the Air Force military site, he said this: a locale he later described as the only place in which he could, quote, sit down in a restaurant and be treated like a customer. It's a strange thing, he said back in those days at a reunion 40 years later. My mind is a little foggy, but I remember it. Here I was, a commissioned officer in the United States Army, an officer and a gentleman, as it were. And in the States, I was still forced to sit in the back of the bus. That's an underdog, gang. Slide, John. When he got out of the service, he went to Pratt Institute in Brooklyn. He studied at the University of Florence in Italy for a year. Now, he had been in Italy as a pilot. Perhaps he knew some people there, loved to go back to Italy, and that kind of affected the way he treated art down the road. He became an art director. One of his jobs was with Avon Paperbacks. Now, if you work for a paperback company back then, we're talking about the late 50s into the early 60s, you might commission 500 covers in a year, 10 a week. You're given a lot of jobs to illustrators. They got to know Roy. they got to like Roy. He probably was a very decent art director. I won't talk about that. You can go on Google Images or whatever. You can find a lot of his pictures there, his commercial art. But he was an art director. He comes to the Society of Illustrators in 1963 and applies for membership as an artist membership. And he was elected. Now you probably think of society, that old fuddy-duddy white men's club. If you were a woman, if you were Black, if you were Asian, like Kwan's dad, if you were Hispanic, if you were a professional illustrator, this is what you did, you were welcome. Yes, even back then. I think that's to their credit. You could not turn a Roy away. He got very involved in the annual book. He actually designed a couple of them. He was always a juror in the annual. He designed a couple of the annual show posters. Slide, John. But one of the things Roy really liked is he was a frequent participant in the Air Force art program. Now, this was something that was started in the mid-50s with the help of the Air Force. They wanted to document what they were doing. We supplied the artists, that is, the Society of Illustrators supplied the artist. And to date, over 5,000 original works have been donated to the Air Force art collection through that program. The Air Force got this great art to document their hardware, their people, and their mission. The artists got the privilege of going on those assignments, flying in the latest equipment. They would come back giddy. They would have a show once a year in the gallery. They were absolutely giddy with stories. I was a grunt, and I was a captain too in the Army, but that's a much longer story. You could just tell the excitement they had of being part of that military outreach of an artist depicting what the military was doing. Slide, John. This is the kind of imagery that Roy created for the Air Force art program. Here they are exhibited on the brick walls of the society. Slide. Exhibited in the Air Force Art Gallery in the Pentagon. As you can see the scale of Roy's work. You could see the intensity of the faces. He wanted to document the people more than the F whatever the plane was. That was something that he saw as being the most important part. Slide. Well, what really struck me about Roy LeGrone, every year he would host an annual luncheon at the Society for his Tuskegee buddies. At first there were 12, then it got down to 8. And finally in 92, there were only 3. These guys would sit down, these men would sit down. They were officers, they were gentlemen. They were dignified. They were well-spoken, well-dressed, successful, sophisticated. They were charming. They were humble. They made a strong and lasting impression on me and anyone who was around them. I just thought this was great to have this group once a year see you as illustrators, your environment, and how seriously you took your work, to hear them be proud of the lives they lived, having survived as underdogs in a really rough environment, to come back to an even rougher environment after the war and be successful. John, slide. One of them, of course, was a hell of an artist, and that's Roy LeGrone. This is a good book. It's an okay book as far as the history. There's a lot more on video, but I thought it was great that they featured Roy's art as the centerpiece of the story of the Tuskegee heroes. Roy ended his career at Rutgers University. He was designing all their alumni publications in New Jersey. He lived most of his life in New Jersey. His wife, Esther, was a sweet, very quiet woman, the wonderful voice. She would come to events with him. She would sit by herself. I always went over to say hello. She had a voice, a little bit of an accent. It was hard to handle sometimes. She was from Iceland. How the hell those two met, I don't know, but you can go online. They have a great family. One of his grandsons is now a pretty successful artist. One day in 1993, Roy wasn't feeling well. He took a nap on the couch in the living room of their home, and Roy never woke up. He was 72 years old. Slide. Roy LeGrone was an underdog. He had a great laugh, and I know he would be laughing right now and be very proud that his fellow Tuskegee Airmen are being remembered tonight, are being remembered in artwork. Keep it up, gang. Thanks for these.
Harry, thank you so much. That was terrific. Really well done.
That was really,
My pleasure.
Thank you so
Very
much.
Thank you,
That
Terry.
was amazing.
That was great.
Look them up online.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Terry.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Timmy, you want to follow that?
I was actually thinking maybe I'll just send everybody a link to the sources I used.
Oh, come on. We want to hear it.
Yeah, here, so I was really excited. Ray, thank you so much for coming up with this. And I'll be the first to admit, I actually had to do a lot of learning this week, and got to read a ton of stories, and hear some amazing stories. And John and I we have like a Slack channel that we've just been sharing back and forth different narratives that we found that, these amazing stories that I had not heard. That's more of just a reflection of like me. But for the second image, I found a really amazing story that is the story of what is considered the let me get this right. They were considered the first couple of the Tuskegee Airmen. It's a very, very touching story about. Let me pull up the slide so I can get it going.
This is Herbert EUGENE.
Yes. Terry's got me all nervous because he did such a great job. So our next image is so Herbert Carter and Mildred Hemmons Carter. They became a couple during their training, and at 18, Mildred was the first black pilot in Alabama, the first female black pilot in Alabama, and they both met in the Tuskegee civilian pilot training program. And a major part of their courtship was that they would rendezvous 3,000 feet above Lake Martin, which I thought was just so, I don't know. It makes the Notebook look lame. I thought that was so amazing. But he was among the original 33 Tuskegee pilots, and eventually became lieutenant colonel. And for those of you who are joining us who maybe don't really know the significance of how respected the Tuskegee were for doing their job, and doing it so incredibly well, was that U.S. bombers were shot down at alarming rates. And fighter pilots, typically protecting these bombers, would peel off to engage enemy aircraft, and that left the bombers vulnerable to attack. And each of these bombers carried 10 to 11 Americans or soldiers, and it would be a devastation to lose a bomber. And the Tuskegee held formation and would stay in formation around the bomber, and it left it much less vulnerable. And their planes were known as the Red Tails, and they were, if you were on a bomber, it was always requested, we want Red Tails. Red Tails basically following us into battle. They were the one group that you could always trust. And so their courtship, back to kind of this relationship, let me see if I can get this slide working. So this is a photo of Herbert as a young man. And so Mildred was one of the first Tuskegee Airmen, which it included both. You were a Tuskegee Airman. That could also mean you were part of kind of the entire project. It didn't necessarily mean you were a Tuskegee pilot, but she was a pilot. And her first job was she bulldozed all of the trees to make way for the airfield, which I thought was a wild. I mean, I'm just imagining my wife doing that. It's like an impossible. Like I couldn't do that. I'm trying to imagine me doing that. It's an impossible task. But it's just such an amazing thing to look back on. And she became the first female pilot to join the state's Civil Air Patrol Squadron. And then she did apply to become part of the WASP, which is the Women Air Force Service Pilots. And I think that this brings to light a lot of the true prejudice that existed then, was really denied solely based on her race and gender. That being said, she continued to fly as a civilian. She continued to work with the Tuskegee and the Tuskegee Airmen, and it really was her husband supported her through all of this, and it was part of their story was that lack of recognition was a very troubling thing for a very long time. And one of the more amazing things about her story is that she just continued to fly. She continued to speak motivationally, and she actually was recognized nearly 70 years after her original application, and was given a medal by the WASP organization as the first woman in history to fly America. So her and her husband traveled the world speaking for equality, and on behalf of the Tuskegee Airmen, up until late in their lives, she passed away in 2011, and he passed away in 2012. But they both were just absolute, just trailblazers. This is him as an older man. And one of the wilder things is she actually met, it was Eleanor Roosevelt because Eleanor Roosevelt was one of the earlier supporters of the Tuskegee project. And she was landing her plane upon the visit, and she just happened to be the pilot. So, and Eleanor Roosevelt asked for her by name. So, a really amazing story. And of course, if you want to draw this image, unfortunately for this evening, there weren't any photos of Mildred. We really wanted to have a photo of Mildred. And we'll be featuring Herbert though, because we had photos. John, you had those gathered. But I just thought that was such a great story. So thanks for listening. And
Timmy, thank you.
sorry for stuttering through it.
Great
It's
story.
okay. You did great.
That's an underdog story for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the second photo is of Herbert, and Chris is going to do the next pose. You got the photo, Chris?
Yeah, I've got it. I'm gonna, like I said, I've always got my thing unmuted because I have my music going. So, is this music too loud if I
Can't
keep
hear
it on?
it. It's fine. We can't hear it.
Okay. Well, okay. So this is the image, right?
I can't see your camera. You got to turn your camera back on.
Oh, my camera went off.
Yeah, it looks like your camera went off.
Okay.
Here we go. Yep.
That's
That's
the
him.
one. All righty. Sorry if my camera went off.
No, that's okay.
All righty. So let's get rolling.
Fire away. I just hit the clock. So this is Chris's second demo for the day.
Yeah.
Explain what you did this morning. It was terrific. Was that was kind of like your test run on Instagram Live, right?
Yeah, I tried to do this Instagram thing, thingamabob, trying to understand this new technology stuff. And so I did a demo of this technique that I somewhat developed over the years, being influenced by Gary Kelly, but also trying to avoid using the sprays that I used to use for my old technique with the oil wash. And so I'm rolling acrylics over drawings like this. And I roll the acrylics with this ultra matte medium that creates a nice texture. And the texture then allows me to work with colored pencil and then paint and all kinds of other fun stuff. And it's just a fun process to play around with. And so that was basically it. We just wanted to see if I could pull it off without looking too stupid.
It was
And,
amazing.
You did great, Chris. I
Yeah.
watched it. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was great.
So it was a fun thing to try to do. And I guess so what I want to follow up with then later on will be like doing something like this, is just talking about drawing, because that particular process relies so much on the drawing. And so many times, even after you show somebody what you've done, they have problems with it because they have problems with their drawing. And, you know, it doesn't, you know, drawing still, I always will believe, will be the root and the core of everything we do. And whether we're working digitally or whether you're working traditionally, I don't know anything about the digital world other than it's a typewriter for me. But I try to draw as much as I can.
So Chris, I'm going to say something and maybe you can react to it. As I think of you, I mean, you obviously paint, but I think of you as a drawer. You're a great image maker. You do full flesh illustrations and paintings where they're full color, full value, and it's much more than just drawing. But I think of you as a drawer. You do well. Number one of the best drawers I've ever seen, and you establish a drawing and you always hang on to it all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, drawing is why I became an illustrator. It's the part of doing this that I like most. And so as much as I can retain that part of it, I'm gonna do so. And you guys were talking about, I think Ray was saying why he flips something, because he wants to make sure when I don't flip, and it's only because whatever mistakes are in my drawings, if it's a mistake, I guess the nice way of saying, we'll call it patina. It's just what's there. I mean, it's because your eye sees. It's funny, I'm sure everybody here has experienced it, where you make a drawing and you think you've crushed it and you've got it and you're still really proud of it. And then a month later, you come across the drawing and going, good Lord, how did I miss that? And you want to go fix it, which is probably why I never hang any of my artwork in my home, because I'm afraid all I'll see are the warts, and I don't want to tear it off the wall and start painting on it all over again. So I mean, I just try to set up the shapes as best as I can see them. I mean, I look at this particular thing and I could just look at the outside of the left-hand side of his jaw versus the right-hand side of his jaw. And you can just see the very distinctive change that takes place right in here. It comes down, and then this comes across up this way here, and this kind of. So I want to get that shape that very distinctively there. If I were to be doing more of a caricature, I mean, I would probably play off of that even more so, push it even more. But I'm not really doing that. I'm just drawing.
Well, Chris, if it makes you feel better, I have a lot of your paintings hanging in my house.
Yeah.
I love having them in my house. One of my favorite things, some of my favorite stuff to look at. I love it.
Well, I think a couple of them were pretty successful pieces, as I recall. And I had a lot of fun with them. In some ways. I think even your dad got a kick out of one of them, at least.
Oh, he got a kick out of the one of him on the bench when he was traveling.
Oh, he did. Did he? Okay, gosh, I was wondering if he ever got to see that daggone thing.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I retained possession of it, but he had it at his house for quite a while.
I just thought that was such a great photo. I just love that picture.
A great photo. Great. Your interpretation of it was perfect. was wonderful.
Now this is obviously a studio photo, and what's tough about studio photos is, you know, you can see how some of this lighting is washing out this whole side of his face, which is making, you know, we're going to have to be a little interpretive here, and we're just going to have to kind of trust our understanding, which is, this is why we do a lot of the drawing as well, because not every time a photograph has all the image, all the information you really need. So you're going to have to kind of take some of this and start working with this as best you can, and at times make some, you know, judgments and interpretation. So I kind of see this crease here and where that lip comes here, and this is coming, you know, obviously this lip, that's what this is indicating here, is coming down. You can see the, so we got to guesstimate where this lower lip is going to be coming back up into there. This peels up this way here. And so you're going to have to, you have to make some interpretations. It looks like he's got a little bit of a soul patch there or something there, because that looks like a whisker there, although I didn't. And this probably actually, his jaw probably does actually come more all the way around here. And what you're seeing here is the cast shadow of the headgear that looks like it's coming out this way and sweeps back down. So I'll just go ahead and put that in there like that. So I'm going to make that assumption. Let's put it that way. I don't know whether I'll get away with it, but
You know, I forgot to mention, on the topic of original artwork, we received 3 original Felicities this week.
Has the Smithsonian called yet?
No, we're trying to make sure they don't hear about this, so maybe we won't. No, she sent such a nice letter to me and John. It was really nice. It was like a Tuesday morning. I was all teary-eyed.
It was such a nice letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's, it is a phenomenal letter, and a really, really nice,
And the work.
Yeah, the work was phenomenal, but the really great explanation of why we do this every week. It really spelled it out for us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so everybody in the audience owes Felicity a big thanks, because she bought everybody like another 6 months of free drawing nights.
We did all have that, reaction.
John and I were just about to cancel it.
It's like, we're gonna do this forever.
Yeah.
Okay, I should have put this. There's one other little bit of news. That new person in the world.
Do we get permission for this?
That is Leon Lovett. That's Ashley Lovett's little boy that she had a baby.
Wow! Congrats, Ashley. Awesome.
Not terrific.
Wow.
cool.
Amazing.
We're art uncles, guys. This is huge.
That's funny.
Wait, did you show a photo? Oh no.
I just showed my phone, Bill.
Oh, so I'll check it out later.
I'll share it with you. I'll share it with the group.
When did she give birth?
I think it was. I'm not exactly sure, but I got her text, and I assume that that's not the first thing that she did on Tuesday at 9
I'm gonna text John.
John,
Yeah,
Gotta
this
go,
is also
pushing.
this is also a cautionary tale. It's like if you text me or John anything, it might come up on Thursday night. We're just looking for content every week, so.
Hey Ray, how's that rash, man? Is it doing all right?
The ointment.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought we weren't going to talk about that tonight.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know that was on. Didn't know that was on the table.
I feel like Terry would have brought it up anyway.
Terry would have.
In slide form.
Terry's
Yeah.
such a gossip.
Yeah.
When you got the goods, you got to share them.
Yeah. I was waiting for like next slide, John, and then that, end to note, end to end it.
Next slide. Next slide. I liked that.
I know, I did too.
That's great.
That's old school. We made it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, make sure the slide projectionist is not, falling asleep or something like that, Paying good money.
Keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
JJ says, "Thank you for not canceling this." I was joking. We didn't have a meeting to cancel it.
Yeah.
I did notice that when I went speaking during this whole thing is usually very easy for me if I can rely on Don to give like a pity laugh. But when Don, when you're so quiet, it is hard, man.
I know. I got got to make it sweat a little bit.
This show runs on your pity, John. You do, Don. You do have to realize this. Like,
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a side comment on the stuff that Chris is trying to draw, making it look like it really looks in the photograph. You can imagine that these Tuskegee Airmen were not the first in line to get the latest and the best equipment from the Army Air Corps. The planes they flew, which you were allowed to paint any way you wanted as a group, so they decided to be different. They put the red tails, they painted the tail and the ailerons in the back bright red so that people knew who they were in the air, because every plane looked almost exactly the same. And what Chris is drawing about the shades and the leather helmet, you don't really know what it's supposed to do, but it's just shapes to you guys as you draw and you gals as you draw, which is amazing. You can bet they didn't get the best equipment. They got the hand-me-downs and made the most of it.
Good point.
Yeah.
Terry, do you know if they just flew P-51 Mustangs, or were they like given like the old ones that like this the old, was it P-47s, the Flying Tigers planes?
I'll let you all do the research on that, on the math of what they flew. They were good planes. By the time they got to Italy in 43, late 43, they were probably 2 steps behind what the Germans still had. By the time you got to mid to late 44, they were flying a next generation, and they were perhaps 2 steps ahead of what the Germans had, because the Germans were just running out.
Right.
So they had a challenge at the beginning to make the most of it. And I think, as the story goes with them, they were one of the most highly decorated units, because the generals knew, we gave them these shitty airplanes and look what they did with them. Imagine if we gave them the really good stuff. And then
Right.
the bombers said, we sort of like those red guys flying around us, if you don't mind. But it's again a part of the underdog. I don't know if any of you, last week we were talking about movies, which I thought was fascinating. If you go back and look at World War II movies, the ones made then, almost the ones made now, you almost never see a successful African-American soldier. They're
Right.
not up there right next to John Wayne hoisting the flag on Iwo Jima. They were starting to be there towards the end because we were running out of others. But you have to think of the the roles when they were given, and then they succeeded, you know that the people above them who relied on the troops to get the jobs done say, yeah, give me the 332nd Bomber Group, they get the job done. So I think when they were given the opportunity, they rose to the occasion. That's what I guess an underdog's supposed to do.
That's that whole thing of having to work harder just to get the same recognition or even less recognition.
We talking about me, or are we talking about the
I'm talking
Tuskegee Airmen?
about- No, I'm talking about the airmen.
Oh,
So
You know.
Ray, how is that rash?
okay.
I do have to say, if you're part of the Facebook group, I shared a link to a documentary, and we'll dig into it soon. But highly recommend watching the documentary because it does an amazing job unpacking a lot of the topics and things we're talking about tonight.
Timmy, thank you. That was going to ask you to do that.
And also, those of you who have submitted ideas for other underdogs, I tried to respond to some of them. We got a lot of submissions, and we're continuing this for the rest of the month. So we are going to be doing more underdogs. And I think it's a great topic. All I've been doing that's all I did this week, is just read really cool stories. And then be like, what did I do today? You know, like went to Target.
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking, however, it was like, yeah. There is an inflection point where you read so many inspiring stories, it's not inspiring. It's
Right. It's like, oh, well, this person only had.
Oh my God,
They had 3 out of the 4 of their limbs. I mean, it's not that. I mean, it's impressive. But.
Yeah. No, it gets to an inflection point where you're like, wow, I am not that material. Yeah.
Chris, did you ever take an Air Force art trip?
No, never really. I mean, I think there were some opportunities from time to time, but, with so many of the other things, when you're teaching classes and doing, you only have so much you can accomplish. And, I mean, it's something I've thought about, and it would be neat to try to do, as I'm now getting a little older and being able to say I've done it. But, right now, like, geez, right now, what's going on with trying to run a program, John can attest to this, just trying to run a program during this time period itself is fairly challenging. And so,
Of course, I really don't have any problems with it. Works out, it's pretty easy.
I knew it. I knew what he was going to say.
And so as lightning strikes me, yeah, I empathize with you, Chris, because a lot going on in the world is affecting everybody.
Yeah. So, you have to kind of pick things. And so at the time, sort of like in some ways the way when Wyeth was asked, he didn't want to break away from his family. He had his other obligations. I mean, I had my family at the time I was trying to raise and teach at various schools that I've taught. You have to kind of pick. And I think the teaching was something, I'm still glad I did that because, I mean, John talked about it the other day when we were drawing, knowing that, at the last Society of Illustrators, there was something like, 3 of the gold medal, 3 award winners were people who went through the program with John.
Yeah.
Those are, and that's something you can say with a great deal of pride. And I've got a handful of artists who are out there working and doing some really great things. And I've been lucky to do some nice jobs and all that, and I appreciate that, the work that I've had the opportunity to do. But I think the thing I feel best about are my students, and seeing the success that they've had in their lives is more important to me.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I can relate with that. There's a lot of satisfaction in that, real satisfaction.
Well, I mean, you know, I tell the story that, you know, one of the reasons why I do this is there's an artist in Cincinnati by the name of L.D. Warren, who was a well-respected political cartoonist for the Cincinnati Enquirer. And for some reason, you know, my mom was trying to figure out what am I going to do with this kid who wants to draw. She called the Enquirer, and he was willing to sit down and talk with me about art and what have you. And I distinctly remember him saying, the only reason why I'm doing this is because somebody did it for me. And those words have stayed with me.
That's awesome.
I think everyone's got that type of story. I mean, I know I do. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
um,
that's turning out great, Chris.
We're getting there. Like I say, this little area here is a little bit, I mean, you can see it, but it's just, am I really seeing what I'm seeing?
Right, it's hard to figure out. Yeah, this is a hard one to draw. You know, it's
Yeah.
I mean, you know the jawline is right here, and you know right there's the cheekbone right there, and so this is going to come down here. But this is a little dicey right there.
yeah. I'm just drawing it based on your drawing, and
That'll get you nowhere.
Yeah. Move your hand. I gotta.
that's beautiful. I also love the Jack Elam piece that you did today.
But it wasn't he great?
And that was such a different take on him from just, you know, I think of his face as being kind of more squashed in, and you really pulled it around and stretched it out.
Well, if you did, that's from a Pride movie from, I'm trying to think. I think that was Kansas City Confidential, and that would have been probably 1947. So that's pretty early in his career.
Yeah.
He's much thinner and gangly there. I mean,
Yeah.
we mostly know him from, you know, the stuff he was doing in some of the spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
And the other bad guys. He always was, like I said, he was always playing bad guys. I mean, he was never going to be the guy that was going to get the girl.
Well, I just, when you were putting his teeth in,
Yeah.
that really started to look like him.
And yeah, and all I did was I just took my cell phone, was watching the movie, snapped a few shots, and drew from it. It's a lot of fun. I've got some new shots. What did I shoot just recently? I've been doing I've got a couple of from The Odd Couple that I've been playing with. What else did I?
And what movie was that you did that had Mathau sitting at the bar with the other guys?
Yeah, I saw that.
In Walter Matthau?
Mm-hmm.
That was those guys playing poker. That was from The Odd Couple.
That was from The Odd Couple. Okay.
That's them playing poker. I got to get more of it done. I mean, it's just I haven't. I ran out of time.
Yeah.
There's so much there. I mean, Felix is standing behind them, and then you've got Herb Edelman's in it, and John Fielder.
Was Walter Matthau in Gone Fishing with Danny Glover?
I don't.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think
he
so.
he was in Dennis the Menace, Timmy. I think that's what you're
Okay. He was the.
Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Let him have it.
You know what would have been a good one too is
Oh man, this is Teflon for me, Chris. You're not gonna hurt my feelings with Walter Matthau. Walter Matthau digs.
have you seen,
Oh, somebody. I was thinking of Joe Pesci.
oh,
They're like the same.
oh,
Yeah, Walter Matthau and Joe Pesci. The same.
Somebody just corrected me. So we're going based off a random person in the room. And it sounds familiar. I'm pretty sure it was Joe Pesci. Did you know, fun Joe Pesci fact, did you know that he was filming what is it? Home Alone at the same time he was filming Goodfellas?
Wow.
Kidding me.
Yeah, like from one set to the other.
That is interesting.
How do you turn that switch off?
What a
Hey,
clip.
we have a breakdown.
Amuse you?
Yeah, and by
Yeah.
fun, like haha, or
Yeah.
That would have been a great mashup. You know, if you just mixed up the movies and you put
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
scene well into the
Talking
other.
like that.
Yeah, maybe they are he's playing the same character. We just never
Yeah,
knew.
it's all part of the same Scorsese universe.
brick to the face. You know, you got the, yeah.
Chris, have you seen A Guide for the Married Man
No,
with Matthau and I think it's Howard Morse and
I've seen it.
Oh yeah, with Inger Stevens.
yeah, Inger Stevens, yeah.
Oh God, yes, and yeah, oh man, yeah,
Lots
that's Walter. Yeah, that's a. That sort of reminds me of that's one of those 1960s that in today's world that movie doesn't play well.
no, but it's got a lot of great characters in it, like all the
That's like, did you ever see How to Murder Your Wife?
yes.
no.
Oh God, I'm telling you that what's his name? Madoff, the actor, who plays the lawyer, his lawyer. Oh God, he is just too much. And he was only in a couple movies, but he steals the show for me. And of course, Terry Thomas was great. Has our buzzer gone off yet? I don't know where we
Just did.
Oh, it just did?
Yeah. You want to draw another minute or two, you can.
Well, I mean, just want to get in a couple of darks because I need to get in a couple hot dark spots in here. A couple pops.
Jonathan Kimball just chimed in and said it would have been so cool if George Pratt was here tonight. Jonathan, I am so sorry. No, yeah, it would have been cool
Would it have been, though?
because
Would
of
it have
Enemy
been?
Ice. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of projecting. I don't know. Yeah,
Daughter's birthday.
no.
If
We
anybody
try to
could,
get him. We try to get him here, but yeah.
if anybody could describe the equipment and the usage of it and the whole
Oh,
team
yeah.
at Tuskegee, he would have been able to do that. There was
Yeah.
a guy who lived in Westport named Ed Vabell, who was a
Oh yeah.
good workaday illustrator. He actually was a courtroom artist at the Nuremberg trials. And Ed had a collection of World War II uniforms out in his studio that was just the most amazing collection ever. And people who would get paperbacks and such would go to Ed and say, Ed, I need a German sergeant in the Panzers. He's a tank officer. And he would say, well, which Panzer, the 32nd or the 48th? And he would actually have both uniforms. Oh, do you want an officer? He had so many uniforms. And that was his hobby. And boy, I hope those uniforms ended up in a good museum because Ed was amazing at knowing what every single button meant and badge meant and insignia and captain's bars.
Wow.
Okay, I think I know George Pratt well enough to say this.
We would have been here till 10,
No, he
11
would have said-
p.m.
No, he would have said this. He said, really? He goes, I'm a World War I guy, not a World War II.
It's true.
That's funny.
And that's why he wasn't invited. Because
Yeah.
of responses like that.
We felt like he wasn't qualified. So World War I, wrong. No.
Right.
All his stories were World War I stories.
I think it was a couple years ago. He was like, I'm going to go to, it was during the academy. He was like, I'm going to go to the World War I museum. Do you want to join? And I was imagining how long of a day that would be. Of I not because the World War I Museum is amazing, but I was kind of a I am a kind of a fly through when it comes to most. I can't do more than 3 hours. That's my max.
Tough. It's tiring. It is. I love museums, but it's tiring.
Yeah.
Sensory overload sometimes.
A day is a trip to the art supply store with George. I mean, a museum, it's an event, a long event.
Have any of you been to the World War II Museum in New Orleans?
No.
Oh, not.
Oh, if I went to it 3 years ago, in 2018, and since then, if you were to tell me you were flying to New Orleans just to go to the World War II Museum, I'd be like, yeah, that is a good trip. That is worth it.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah, highly recommend it.
Dayton, Ohio has the Air Force Museum, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And that's where the Memphis Belle is housed. I don't know, about 7 years ago, my wife and I, we were able to get tickets for a backstage pass where they do all the reconstructions and fixing up of the plane.
Awesome.
And so we got to spend a day while they were working on the Memphis Belle, and they had it all kind of, I mean, they worked on that for 10 years to get that. They were remachining parts.
Is that right?
There was a PBS program just recently on that. I think it was Sunday evening. I was watching that. It was quite fascinating, and the amount of work. And I mean, the Memphis Belle was actually it was the city of Memphis who found it. It was in a scrap yard, ready to be just broken down and turned into scrap for, maybe, I don't know what they were going to use the metal for. And they bought it for, I don't know, like $350 and brought it back to Memphis. And they did a fair amount of restoration to it, but eventually their money ran out. And the Air Force Museum, I mean, you go to this Air Force Museum at Wright-Pat, you cannot believe they've got everything. They've got everything. They've got a wing that is all the earliest stuff from the Wright brothers and Glenn Curtis, all the way through World War I, World War II, all the uniforms, all the other stuff that's up there. And I think it was last year, I can't remember exactly what time of year it was, they had a show of the Air Force art. And Terry, you know these guys, Keith Ferris and Gil Cohen were there. And is Terry still here?
I am, and you can't talk about Air Force art without talking about Keith Ferris.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Keith was
Ferris. You should look him up.
He's one of the best. And the thing was, I came up there and I was going, and a bunch of people were there, and I said, "Is Keith here? Keith Ferris here?" Because I worked with him. I pissed him off once at the in our committees, but nevertheless, he was there, and he and his wife. He was like 90 years old, and he and his wife drove in from New Jersey.
Peggy, tough as nails.
Yeah, and about 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
And Keith is probably about 4'11". I mean, he's not a big guy too. And Gil Cohen was there, and it was just fantastic. And they've got an amazing art collection. Same thing with the museum down at Pensacola. The Navy Air Force Museum down there where the Blue Angels are. They have got a great collection of art. So when we talk about not just the equipment, the planes, the uniforms, all the equipment, they also have great museums with great art.
Well, since you mentioned Keith Ferris, and we mentioned the red tails.
Yep.
Why would you want to paint your plane bright red? Don't you think everyone's going to be able to see it?
Yeah.
Well, think about these planes, gang. They were going 10 miles an hour. I mean, they were making noise. They were loud. They weren't hiding anywhere. Keith Ferris went from that era. Eyesight wasn't good enough for him to be in World War II, so that's why he became an artist, to being ultrasonic jet planes.
Yep.
Keith flew in every one of them, right up to the F-35, the most modern one now, and he invented a camouflage system that if you painted the bottom of your jet fighter, this particular pattern, and you taught your pilots to go at a certain degree to the sun at a certain angle against a certain background, you could for 2 seconds make your plane invisible.
Wow.
And he put that up for bid. And there were 2 bids. One was the unsuccessful bid from the United States Air Force, and there was the successful bid from the Israeli Air Force. And it lasted for about 3 or 4 years. And then the technology passed, but he said, we just got a moment of time here where the technology of painting a plane a certain way at a certain angle at a certain time can give you that moment of superiority in the air. Keith Ferris takes that stuff real serious. American Society of Aviation Artists is the group that to this day documents airplanes. And
Wow.
and gang, I'm gonna bail. Thank you very much for having me and allowing me to yak a little more than I should have. You're doing great work, and I know somewhere Roy is laughing in his very special way. So thank you and good luck with your work.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Terry.
Thanks so much, Terry.
It was an honor.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
great seeing you.
How much fun was that?
That was awesome.
I was
Kind of ruined my night, John.
Hey, remember that time that Timmy followed Terry Brown?
Okay, I didn't want to
No,
tell.
let's move on to the next image, though.
We do.
So we're not here. So we're not here all night.
Chris, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. Let's kill it.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
It's awesome, Chris.
And so
John, you were about to say something, but I was just saying.
I was going to tell, but I'm going to wait till we get started on the next image.
Yeah. Who's up next, though? Who's up next to bat?
Don Kilpatrick.
I think it's me. Yeah.
And this is like surprise reference for you.
Yeah, no, I like it. This is great. I love this shot. Who's the pilot in this shot?
This is
On the website, it should be titled.
this is Alec. No, got the wrong one here. Hold on.
Lieutenant Colonel Harry T. Stewart.
Yes.
It's the image in the cockpit, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Harry,
I want to make sure I got the right one here. You know.
Yep. Harry T. Stewart Jr.
Oh, cool.
Interesting guy. Grew up in New York, right next to LaGuardia, before they were building the airport, and got to watch it be built as a child.
Yeah, he called it like a small airfield, right?
Yeah, jokingly. You've posted that.
Yeah,
link, right?
Yeah, for some context, what we're drawing tonight, you can watch a full hour length documentary about our next 2 poses who are featured in this documentary. And John, you've got, I know you've got kind of the notes together about it, but highly recommend checking it out.
Yeah, it's a wonderful documentary. You'll amazed at what these people were able to accomplish and what they went through. This individual, right after the war was over, they had in the very first Top Gun challenge, he was one of 3 that was elected to fly in it, and he won the very first Top Gun challenge. What we know is the great Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah. I will say I learned a lot this week, and one of the things I learned this week that I'm ashamed of is that Top Gun is not just a Tom Cruise film. I really didn't know that. I'm like super.
That it was a
I had no
naval
idea.
school.
I don't know. I thought it was like a catchy Hollywood title that they came up with, and
I did too, Timmy. So don't worry. There's 2 dummies in the room here.
Don't
I
try
didn't
and
know.
save him, Dale.
And I also
Don't try
never
and
saw
save
the
him.
movie.
Yeah, come on.
I never saw the movie
Okay, now that's real idiocy.
in a way that I remember. Right?
This is why I told
I'm
you.
sure
not to
I've
do it,
watched.
Dale.
I'm sure I've seen every scene from like TBS.
That's why I wanted
I was a
a bomber jacket. It's because of that movie.
What's that, Don?
I wanted a bomber jacket because of that movie. I mean, that was
I didn't mean, John. I didn't mean to detract though.
It's okay.
It
What
was sort of-
actually what I was originally going to say was the very first the very, very first educational recording that I ever did was with Terry Brown. And Terry put a talk together about current history and the Society of Illustrators, kind of wrapped a whole bunch of things together. And he had probably 6 or 8 pages of 12-point type printed out. And Brent Watkinson was filming him, and we were standing together. I was interviewing Terry, and I said, well, Terry, I'm not sure how you're going to do this. Are you going to like verbatim read this? Do you need to be able to see your notes? And he just looked at me, he goes, no, I got it. And turned the camera on. And 20 minutes later, he went through the 8 pages of copy verbatim without looking at it.
Oh.
I was just like, whoa, that hurts. And it's, every time, and Timmy will tell you, every time he puts a camera on me, it's it just starts stuttering. And so I was totally marveled at his ability to deliver information so smoothly. And I think part of it is
I'll
just
bring
knowing
your supercut
information
next
really
time.
well. Pardon me?
John, I'll bring your supercut
Yeah, please
next
do.
week.
Yeah. You can tell them what that is, because
Oh my God.
I just find it entertaining.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I have permission.
Yeah.
Because I interviewed John. That was like 8 years ago now. I think it was like 8 years ago. I interviewed John, and it was a rough interview. It was probably my fault. I probably wasn't creating the right environment, but John was pretty frustrated. And as I was editing the interview, every time John would say kind of an unsavory word in vain, I'd cut it out and I'd kind of put it off to the side just to save it. And I by the time it was done, I had like 300. like it was like a 2-minute video of just a supercut of John just like I won't do it because I know they're kids.
Yeah, but anybody that's around me much, and
Yeah,
I don't swear that much, but I got it all out in that video.
it was.
That's funny.
It was. Yeah. Yeah. If you want the videos, send an email to hello@visualartspassage.com. I'll send you a copy. I'll just send you a copy.
If you sign up for 3 or 2 or more
If
classes.
you sign up for 2 classes, you get a copy of
Oh,
it.
you get a bonus. You get a bonus John swearing video.
Yeah.
Send
I
it
love
back.
that.
Meet your new
John?
instructor.
John, this is Chris. My back is starting to give me a little bit of a problem, so I think I'm going to step away. It's been a long day.
Chris,
So,
thank you so much. You're a champ for being here tonight after what you went through today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a
Right,
great
guys.
night.
Awesome. Hey, Chris,
Yeah.
call me tomorrow. I think you will. So give me a call.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll post these drawings here up a little bit later on. Okay. I want to just go
Awesome.
upstairs and lay down for a few minutes on my back, give my back a
All
break.
right.
Oh man, hope you feel
Okay.
better.
Have a good night,
Thank
Chris.
You
Feel
can
better, Chris. Take care.
bring the webcam. I mean,
You
just, just
All the extra clip.
What a good guy, man.
Yeah.
And he can draw a little bit.
A little bit.
Well,
Just a little bit.
I was going to take issue with his quote unquote demo. I'm like, it shouldn't be a drawing demo. It was like a drawing portfolio demo. It's
Yeah.
unlikely.
Have you, just for reference, I actually sent Timmy one of them. I sent Timmy a photo of the Wade brothers that Chris just sent to me, the dual portrait, the double portrait he did of the Wade brothers.
Oh yeah.
And I sent that, and he tears it out of the sketchbook. It's got the rough edge, on the top. But if you've never seen one of those sketchbooks, I mean, I just look at them, I'm amazed, because what is there, 40 pages, 28, 40? I don't know how many pages are in one of those sketchbooks. And every one of them is a full painting. And it's like, every one of them is one of those pieces. And he just tosses them around like they're nothing. And I'm just like, Chris, I said, these things are amazing. They're absolutely amazing. And, it's like one little thing like this has you know, we'll call it 36 Chris Paynes inside of it. And then they're
Right.
Yeah,
They're
that
all
he was
better than
showing
the
some of
next.
those. That blew me away.
Oh
He
man.
was just flipping through them, and it's like there's 50 amazing pieces there.
You know, that's what I always get a kick out of when people see him do demos. And I saw it today again on Instagram. You know, and I saw it, John, when I was at the academy. People are always like, "Oh, well, wait a minute, what kind of paper is that? What kind of is that gouache or acrylic?" And it's like, it's drawing. It's not the guy can draw. You know,
Yeah.
that's what
It's the cheapest sketchbook you could probably get.
Yeah, you're reacting to someone who can draw their butt off.
Yeah.
That's right.
No matter what he's using.
He's just using that Strathmore pad, right? Like the.
Oh my God! It's the stuff that I
Garbage.
get a free pad every semester when we start teaching. Like they ship one, and it's like half of the teachers don't want to even use it because it doesn't matter. It's like he's just like, it's incredible, you know.
Yeah.
It's okay for him.
It's okay, right? It's like somebody asked him, Dale, right? Somebody asked him like the weight of the paper or something like that. He's like, like I don't even know. Is it you know?
He's like, I buy them because they're $10 a pop.
Right, because they're reasonably.
It says 13, but I get them on discount.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, as much as we joke about that, but Chris, I mean, he really does care. You know what he cares about is how his pencil reacts to the drawing, reacts to the paper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
That's what he cares about, is the tooth of it.
But
Well,
the
one thing he said
is
go ahead.
no matter what he uses, his work is going to look like Chris Payne did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I really like that because I don't know about you all, but I get hung up on, I get like almost depressed if a certain, sketchbook is not made anymore. And, it just goes to show if you just really focus on what's most important, it'll come out. Whether it's a, $10 sketchbook or a $40 sketchbook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I still get hung up on that stuff. I'd love to say that, oh yeah, it's no big deal for me, but man, that's a tough one for me.
Yeah. Yeah, there's stuff you can't find now, which is just, there's paper that you like to draw on and things you like to use.
But and I think he was the one that told me, he said, I remember telling him what I was using once. This is a long time ago. And he's like, yeah, well, just love it now because they're going to stop making it.
Yeah.
And he's right,
What do you know, man?
Kid,
Well, one thing
kids
that
these days. That's what he is. Kids these days. I love that line.
It's like that's a slogan.
Oh, you kids.
I remember David Grove was very much like that. He had a specific brand of illustration board that he loved, and one day he got like the same. He would buy the same brand, same everything the same, and then one day he was working on it and something was wrong, and he called up the factory and they were like, oh yeah, we changed like where we source our paper rag from and such and such because it was a little cheaper to do that, but it's still the same. And he's like, no, it's not the same. And so then he called around and he found this, like in the middle of the Midwest, he found an art supply store that still had the original, like his favorite type of illustration board before they changed the process. And he brought the 2 pallets of it. And he was like, can you ship me those 2 pallets? Like, you want all of them, sir? He goes, I want every single illustration board in stock that you have.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Like,
yeah.
Couldn't get the assignment done that week,
Right.
I'd probably be that guy that would have been like, I can't buy any illustration board. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, they did. There's, I know with Strathmore, this has been a few years ago. They did change the sizing on it, and it was screwing me up for a bit, and I kind of stopped using it because of that. But I've used it since, and I'm like, what was I thinking? I don't know. I just forgot.
Yeah.
I did that with that CS10 board. That stuff was great for. I used to airbrush, and that was great for erasing and for like using an X-Acto blade, because it had like felt like the sizing was like almost like a really fine gesso, so you could scratch into it like almost infinitely, and you weren't destroying anything.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it was awesome. And then I heard that it was going out, or it was leaving, and I tried to get some, and a buddy of mine told me that Mark Fredrickson had bought like thousands of dollars worth, because that's the stuff he used. So
It would be, Gosh.
George Pratt did that with the quill pens. There's certain nib that he liked that he found he could get them online, and I think he bought everything on the planet.
That's why they disappear.
Him anymore,
Guys, you realize you're all messing up the market. That's why they disappear.
that's flexing.
It's the panic buys.
It's like buying all the toilet paper.
Speaking of which, Don,
Yeah.
what are you drawing with right now? Don,
what's that?
What are you drawing with right now?
Oh, so these are these paint markers that Francis Vallejo turned me to. Posca Uni Posca.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's other brands too. There's where is it? Molotov or Molotov. There's a few different brands out there. I think Liquitex makes one, but he turned me on to these a few years ago, and I've kind of had them sitting around for a while, and today I was getting ready. I'm teaching a passion illustration class next semester, and I'm getting everything ready for that. And I was like, I wanted to try something different that would be just easy and fun, and I really enjoy these. They're just, they don't let you get in and kind of, worry about stuff too much. You just have to lay it in, and they work really well. I've got a I don't even know what brand this is. This is a Japanese, brush marker pen that you can get on, I think, Jet Pens or something like that.
Well, before, you buy all of them.
Francis buys every single one of them, but yeah. but no, I mean, I'm just having fun with this because, I wanted to do something that didn't really take up a lot of time for me to set up, but I could get a little bit of painting. Ooh, that's looking beautiful, man. Jeez, Ray.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, well, happens when I take a couple of Timmy minutes. I've taken a couple of Timmy hours to do it.
Yeah. Oh, here, let me go to Ray's.
I'm surprised he gave you any. So probably wasn't going to give you any of those, but I mean,
yeah, Terry burned through all the Timmy minutes tonight, so.
He owned us all.
And honestly, he kind of just took them from me. They weren't given.
Like mine.
No. John, I had one question I wanted to ask Terry. I didn't get to, but was he around when my dad ended up going to the Society of Illustrators?
Yeah, he was the director of the program then.
So was he at any point, so I'm assuming then he met my dad and was like, oh, he's the guy that we gave those medals to that had no business getting those medals.
No. You should tell.
It's
a really good story.
That's an entertaining story.
Where are we at? How much time do we have?
We have plenty of time.
Yeah, go for it, man.
So John and my dad, if you haven't, tuned in before, our dads go way back, and they were best friends when they both were around. But when my dad was a young man, he would have been John, like late 20s, maybe 30.
I think he met your dad when he was 27.
Okay.
Or 25 actually.
Okay, so so my dad was a printer, but he was a printer. He was printing like business cards for like local plumbers, you know, or just not glamorous at all. And he really admired this idea of being a creative and kind of having a bigger. He wanted a bigger point to everything kind of going on, and so he had this idea of like, I'm gonna print. I should get into like printing art for artists. That would. I'd have this more interesting life. I'd be surrounded by more interesting people. And he was at a bar that was doubling as his office in Westport called Kelly's. And there was a creative director from Hallmark there. And he was like, you should meet this illustrator, Mark English. He's one of the most, he's the guy. And my dad, not knowing any better, said, I'll need to see his work first.
Oh,
Right. And so,
Pass the audition.
so Mark passed the Tim Trayvon audition. Right. Yeah. So the first job that my dad, and John, I don't know what made him make the decision, or was he the type to just be like, I like giving out first shots to people?
No, he did. I know what it was. It was a catalog that he did of his own work.
But why did he let my dad do it? I don't know.
Oh, because your father printed it for him as a favor.
Okay.
So,
That makes sense. My dad was getting the opportunity for recognition, and Mark was getting free printing. So it was a fair, they did the trade. And so my dad was printing it, and I make all these jokes about my dad. My dad had the best understanding of color of anybody I've ever met by a mile. As a printer, he had to. And he was printing this illustration. And John, you know the painting. I don't know the work.
Actually, that was a different. I thought you were going somewhere else. That was a piece for the American Parks Association.
Okay. So
National Parks Association.
So it's like 3 my dad's hours were like from like 8 a.m. to 4 a.m. right? Printing in the basement of the house that I actually live in right now. And he kept looking at this work and was like, I just don't like this frame. The border, the color of it just is terrible. It's not working. And so he tried to call Mark, like in the middle of the night, and he was like, nobody answered. And he was like, I got to take this in my own hands. And so he corrected the color of the border of Mark English's painting.
Oh my God.
Right. As a young John, as like a young 20-something, just was like, I'll do it. And that like nothing sums up my dad more than that. And then to Mark's character, Mark saw it and was like, okay, and approved. And then when he submitted it at the end of the year to the Society of Illustrators, he listed my dad as the art director. And my dad ended up winning a gold medal as the art director.
Oh my God.
So my dad flies out to New York to accept the award.
Oh my God.
Dad was the type of person that was like, well, I'm going to own it if I got the award. I mean, who am I to not, accept this award? And then he said that he landed, and he got there the afternoon before the ceremony. And this is like my favorite part, because this is totally your dad's style, John. He said that he called Mark from his aunt's house in New York, and he was like, I'm here, I'll see you in like 4 hours. And Mark's like, yeah, oh, also be sure to wear, it's black tie, just be sure you're ready for that. My dad was like, what? And to my aunt pulled off like a miracle and got a suit fitted for a suit, like in no time.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And my dad, she's an unreal woman. But my favorite thing is he said she puts him in a car, sends him there. My dad did not know, right out of Kansas City, doesn't know what he's doing. He pulls up in front of the Society of Illustrators, Mark's outside smoking a cigarette, and he says the door, the driver opens up the door and my dad gets out in his suit and he was like, it didn't make sense. How'd he get here? Yeah, so no, they had like a dozen shenanigans like that.
Well, I'm going to finish that by in your dad's office, that gold medal, and then another one that he did as a catalog of the first gallery show that he had, first show at a museum he had. And he had your father print the catalog, and he listed him as the art director for it, and he won another gold medal for it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so every time Tim and I would get in an argument about it,
it was the worst.
he would look at me and he goes, John, I have 2 gold medals as an art director.
I'd be like designing our website and we get into a conversation about design and he'd be like, I have 2 gold medals as an art director for the Society of Illustrators. You're going to argue with me about design?
Nice.
He's a funny man.
Like, you're making this really difficult, Dad.
So Ray, do you ever forget which way the piece actually goes?
Never. I'm perfect. I just realized, I was like, which way does it go? I was actually just asking myself that question. I think it's this way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Wes Burt in a demo one day admitted, he said sometimes he just leaves it. He said he can't remember which way it was supposed to be and just leaves it that way.
Whatever looks good,
Yeah.
All right, I'm finished.
That's great.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Killer. Don, you got 4 minutes roughly.
Don, I accidentally muted you. Sorry, man.
I see how
It was totally an accident.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a little trick Timmy has when he starts to tell a story.
I swear I didn't mean to do it.
It's called owning the room.
Doesn't need your pity, Don.
Oh man.
It's looking good, Don.
No, I'm never gonna mute Don. I'm never gonna mute Don because he gives me a good chuckle when you need it.
Not just a laugh, but a chuckle.
You're saying he's your Ed McMahon?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's the Andy Richter of illustration isolation.
The trouble is both of those references are too old for a lot of our audience.
Andy Richter? Is he?
I think so, yeah, at this point.
Really?
Well, welcome to Outside the Zeitgeist, Timmy.
No. I refuse. I don't believe it.
He doesn't still
Who would be that? He's still with Conan.
is he? Because
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
he is. Okay. I couldn't
Yeah.
remember. I
I
haven't watched Conan in a
Yeah.
while.
I mean, the truth is nobody under the age of 25 knows what late night television is. So
Right.
they're like, you mean that like the short clips they put on
Yeah, the
YouTube now
reels
with celebrities? 5-minute celebrity interviews? Yeah. I remember when Conan was like the weird late night show.
Oh yeah, like
Right.
the set looked like it was like just put together like 30 seconds before the cameras went on.
Yeah.
You know.
And people were just like, this is
What
yeah,
is
what?
that?
some of those skits are just crazy. Like when he went to I think he went to a Greyhound station late at night once and was just randomly talking with people and man, like afraid for his life. It was pretty.
Oh, Don, I heard an interview where he talks about that. He went to a city where people were trying to cancel his show.
Oh, that's okay.
And I'm trying to remember what it was. I'm trying to remember where they were.
But he literally was. You could tell
He was going, yeah.
because the guy was like, and the guy was super like creepy. I was like, whoa, yeah. It was pretty-
His show got banned by a local network. That's what occurred. And so they went to that town to interview the people.
Oh, okay. That makes
Yeah. And everybody in the town hated Conan. It was really funny. It was great. They were like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, you know, I was going to speak up earlier, but have you guys seen Black Narcissus?
No.
No.
It's an older film. You know, I was gonna try to bring it up with Chris. Chris recommended that I watch that movie years ago, and I finally got around to watching it last night. It's you should definitely check it out. It looks like I don't know if it's HBO. I think is doing a reboot of it as a series, but the original movie is so beautifully shot.
Was Chris mad at you when he made that suggestion? Was he kind of like, I'm thinking of the title of that movie and was thinking, you should really watch this.
Yeah, it'd be perfect for it, Don.
Totally annoying the daylights out of me. He's like, oh, quit asking me what brush I use. Yeah. No, it's really, it's shot like, I think in 47, and some of the matte painting that's in that movie is just like, you can just freeze frame that thing, and there's so many great compositions, and it looks like just one big Dean Cornwell painting. You got to check it out. It's
What's it called again?
Black Narcissus.
Black Narcissist. Okay.
It's about an nunnery up in, like, I think in the Himalayas or something.
Don, Steve Hughes makes a comment. And by the way, hello, Steve Hughes. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah. Hey.
Steve.
He's a very good artist. There's some incredible matte paintings in that movie.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Black Narcissist. Okay.
yeah, especially near the beginning, one of the nuns is ringing the bell, and they do an extreme 3-point perspective view, almost eagle-eye view straight down, and that matte painting is just whoa, insane. It's like, you know, it's at the same level of what Sid Mead was doing in Blade Runner, right? When they're on top of the building, it's just insane.
Don, this is terrible. I accidentally stopped your video. I did not mean to. I clicked. I meant
Oh
to.
my
I
gosh!
meant
I
to.
thought you were gonna haze Ray
I
instead.
didn't. I meant to
Yeah,
change
one night.
the
I always
spotlight.
get the hazing. I always get.
I wanted to show everybody what Bill was up to, and I was like, end video.
You're
My
supposed
bad.
to haze Ray.
Nice, Bill.
You
Oh,
laugh
thanks.
at his jokes.
It's finger slip.
Yeah, I'm like his Andy Richter, and he hazes me.
Don, it's the dynamic. People love it.
Who's the hey now guy in Gary Shandling again? What's his name?
Gary Shandling?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Oh yeah, yeah.
a legend.
Hey now.
Yeah.
No, he's a very well-known actor. Oh
Where's Chris when you need him?
my God. Oh.
Gary Shandling.
What movie, or is it a?
Ed McMahon.
No.
Somebody. I'm just reading things from the audience. I'm just reading things. Jeffrey Tambor.
Jeffrey Tambor, yeah.
I was gonna say, are people just messing with
Oh,
me?
Jeffrey Tambor, yeah.
I was like, after I said the second name, I was like, is the audience just gonna see what Timmy will say out loud?
That's nice.
Based on what they
That
heard.
looks great, Bill.
Oh,
Nice one,
thanks.
Bill. One on the right's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happier with that one.
Very handsome. All right, so we're 2 minutes over, Don.
I'm good. Yeah, I just.
Oh, that's great, Don.
That was awesome, Dale. Yeah, you've been.
I
Dale,
posted a
you've been
link
killing
to
it.
the to an image from that you guys were talking about from Black Narcissus.
Okay, so we're gonna jump to another pose here, but before we do, I am going to share something real quickly, and I'm gonna put Ray on the spot. Can you imagine that? Hey Ray,
Done.
you're teaching a class with us starting next week, and we still have a spot or two left. And say a couple words about your class.
Yeah, thanks, John. Well, my class is called Painting the Head from Paint to Pixel, or portrait painting from Paint to Pixel. It's a class that basically explores ways of approaching the painting a head and painting portraits and getting a likeness, and how if you can, how to basically apply picture making practices to using or painting ahead in multiple approaches and multiple mediums. And we talk a lot about how to integrate those areas. And we talk about structure of the head and talk about lighting. And at the end, we talk about basically taking the portrait and applying it to, something that could be either, fantasy based or whatever genre you want, and how to go about setting that up. I think getting a likeness and the idea or the ability to get a likeness is something that's extremely important as an illustrator. And even as an artist, I think you can, what you learn from that, you can apply in all other things, because it really sharpens your eye to see why something looks the way it looks. So I'm super excited, and
yeah, we got till Tuesday, right? But
Yes.
if you're going to do it, you got to sign up.
Sign up now then.
And Ray, I'm really looking forward to that. I will be sneaking in there and listening. Brent,
Should we start doing the thing like if you call within the next 30 minutes?
No.
Yeah.
And then the next class above it is a color theory class that Brent Watkinson teaches, and it's spectacular. That class, every semester I go and sit in at least 2 or 3 of the classes and just can't leave. It's just a real.
I mean, honestly, sign up for all 4.
Yeah,
yeah.
Anyway, Brent's class teaches you how to apply color and breaks it down in really simple bites and where it's understandable, digestible bites, I should say. The other 2, I teach a foundations class, basics, what I think is the most important aspects of structuring a picture, and a very simple process of putting pictures together. We start with a head drawing, and then we go to a very simple explanation of how I teach figure drawing, which is the bottom class actually, which I'm teaching a full class of it at the first time. And that's the academy approach. That was my father's approach to drawing the figure, which a lot of people have picked up on. And I know Francis learned to do that. And obviously Don learned to do it. And anybody that's gone to the academy, Dale, I experimented with it. George Pratt took it upon himself to kind of switch from line to seeing things in shape. And it's a very simple way and a very different way to draw the figure. But those are lineup. They all still have spots in them. And if you're interested, let us know. But and Timmy, anything else to add to that? Timmy left.
I literally put my headphones on and I just heard you say, do you have anything else you want to add to that? I think we're good.
Okay, we're good. I'm going to stop sharing, and then we are going to go to our 4th pose.
Right on.
And it is Dale Stephanos.
Whoa, what?
Oh, Dale, if you don't.
No, I'm kidding.
If you don't want to,
I'm kidding.
make me draw.
I can't hear you, John. You're breaking up. I'm going through a tunnel.
I'm going through a tunnel. That's good. That's good.
Goofy.
Is this thing on?
Oh, is this thing on? Is this thing? Does
Yeah.
mic work? This thing on?
It's on. I'm so glad I didn't have to follow Chris. Thank you. Don, thanks for taking that bullet.
You're out of focus there, Dale.
Yeah, Dale.
Oh, am I
Oh, there
really?
you go.
Yeah. It looks like your autofocus is on.
I moved it a little bit. Is that any better?
That's good. Yeah.
He's trying to look. He's trying to look youthful. He's got a lot of Vaseline on the lens. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live in soft focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Dale, it's your autofocus is grabbing your hand and
Really?
throwing it off. Yeah.
Hmm.
If you either can get the webcam closer, that might fix it.
Closer.
Yeah, but then I do realize that your head has to exist somewhere.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Heads are overrated. Most.
Do you have a head strap maybe, like something that you put it on your forehead? Have you ever seen any Red Bull videos?
Is that any better?
It's still grabbing it.
Please.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let's see. If you were to not put it so direct on, see, you have it right over the top of your work. If you were to angle it more, it's going to be less off to the side. It's going to have less, that depth is going to be less of an issue. But
Is that any better? Where's my stuff here?
it's going to keep, Dale, I'm sorry. It's going to keep doing it.
All right, I don't know how to fix it outside of Zoom, so it will. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Let me see if I can get this going. I'll do a speed drawing.
Sorry, Dale.
No, I'm sorry. More.
I think blaming Timmy's appropriate in this time. I mean, what do you think, Don?
Yeah, what's up, Tim? Come on, man.
Yes.
I actually think this is Don that's doing it because, you know, Dale's opening line is saying, hey, thank you for taking the bullet you didn't want to follow. Chris Payne. So, you know, Don, you know, he wanted to follow you.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What are you trying to say, Dale?
It is a little suspicious.
Hey,
You know.
yeah, you know.
You know what?
It's like, hey, I really like that frame.
So, Timmy,
Yeah. So Dale, we would either need you to turn off your autofocus, which are you using a webcam?
yeah, I'm using a Logitech Brio. I don't know how to get it.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, you want to draw?
I don't do that through Zoom, right?
Yeah. No, it has to be through another software, and usually it requires you to restart your computer to download that software.
Oh,
It's usually a big commitment. If you were to get your webcam, here, I've got my video going. So if you see this, if you've got so imagine this, right? This is straight down.
I can't see you.
Oh, you can't. Oh man.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
That's not what this is about. So, you know what? I'm just gonna draw it, and it's gonna look much better blurry anyway. So.
Okay.
I didn't notice it freaking out when you were
Hey.
drawing before, though. That's a weird thing. But maybe.
Yeah, nothing changed. So.
Just a little pressure does that.
You got me.
Yeah, Don has a glitch switch.
Yeah, Don. Any
Don glitched me out.
Yeah, I'll just mess
Yeah.
with Dale a little.
Don't glitch me, bro.
Oh man, Don
Is that what you
glitch.
did?
Don's
Yeah.
getting his Detroit on. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Don't
you know.
glitch me, bro.
Don't mess with Detroit.
Don't mess with Detroiters
Johnny Detroit.
by way of Salt Lake City.
The mean streets.
They will friendly you to death.
Yeah.
What are the Michiganders or Michigan? What are the Michiganders?
Michiganders.
Yeah.
Michiganders. My wife kept during the election. My wife kept saying that to me because I was born in Detroit.
Oh yeah, you're a Michigander.
I'm a Michigander.
Yeah.
That really bothered her, and for some reason I don't know why. Yeah.
On the topic of Michigan, the individual we're drawing, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Jefferson.
Yes.
One of the wildest parts of his story was, so he was shot down over France, and the first voice, the first thing he hears from his he had to bail, and he parachuted down at like 600 feet, really low, to bail out, and then he gets stuck in some trees, and the first thing he hears is something in German, and his conversation begins with this German soldier who graduated from Michigan University.
Get out of here.
Wayne University.
Wow. Wow.
U of M?
Yeah.
Like at University of Michigan or Michigan State?
John, did you say Wayne, or did you say
I
was it
thought it
University
was
of Michigan?
I thought it was Wayne University.
Oh,
But it
no.
could be it
Well,
could
there's
be-
Wayne State in Detroit. And then
yeah, that might be it.
I thought it was Michigan State.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But
that's-
anyway, Michigan State, it was like just a fully surreal part of his story. And then he was a POW for an extended period of time. It sounded like for quite a while, but cannot recommend highly enough watching the documentary.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I know you guys have mentioned that before, but what's the name of the documentary again?
It was released earlier this year by the is it the Ford Foundation? I posted and illustrated in the Facebook group.
Okay, I'll look.
And
for
it is marked as an announcement. It's called Our Voices, Our Stories, the Tuskegee Airmen.
Oh, cool.
It's really good. I'm grabbing the link right now. Just don't leave this to go to that. Just save it.
I think I might go check it out now.
Yeah, see you later,
Yeah.
guys. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
check
Oh my
it
God, people are leaving in droves.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
John, when's your figure drawing class?
Monday night.
Sunday night?
Monday.
Monday night. Okay.
Yeah.
At what time?
It starts at 7:00 your time.
Oh. I definitely need to drop in because I
We talked about you coming into Sterling's that night. Just come into mine because I forgot I was doing mine.
okay.
Because I'm not going to be with Sterling then.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds great. I would love to do that. Yeah. I've been meaning to I've been secretly wanting to get back into pastel. And so I think this would be a nice way to do that. The medium I kind of wish I had right now to do this portrait. It's kind of like almost made for it.
Hey, Bill, are you using new pastel?
Yeah.
See, and I did a little bit of pastel when I was at the academy, and I've just kind of yeah. I mean, it's intriguing me too, Ray. I wanted to do more of it, but I know there's definitely a big. It seems like there's a big line between like who's using Rembrandt or the softer kind, and
Right.
using the new pastel. I know Andy Espinosa, for example, he's all about the softer pastel. Is there a reason why you use new pastel instead of a softer one?
I feel like I have more control over it because it's a little harder
Oh, cool.
and I can be heavy-handed.
Yeah, with soft pastel, it's like it'll just
Yeah, it's way too reactive.
Yeah, it just kind of. I also like the size of the new pastels too.
Kind of an
Soft pastels have been bigger sticks.
so you just get more for they last longer. Just get more for what you paid.
Here's a question from the crowd for Dale. Dale, whatever's happened, it's working. So
Okay.
kind of. Just don't move. Somebody just asked though, Erica just asked, Dale, what's the story behind the cropped face sheet?
Yeah, I was noticing that, Dale.
The what?
The skull, and to the left of your mini skull is like a cropped face sheet of these like.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
I
oh.
was bad type, but I was afraid to ask.
This is phone
Yeah.
doodles. So if I'm on the phone, you know, I'll draw on whatever.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
I'm sorry, there's not a better story.
Yeah, no, I
That's
think that is a
awesome.
good story. Everybody
Yeah.
take note.
Yeah.
You know?
So whatever don't talk to Dale on the phone.
Oh, I was going to say draw.
Oh,
You
wait a
should
minute. Wait.
draw
So,
when you're on the phone.
so Ray, you're saying don't have Dale draw anymore. Don't have this happen.
So somebody call Dale.
I know. Someone call him.
Yeah, maybe he'll draw something good.
Oh, man.
I just realized we totally didn't answer any. Did we answer that question? I just realized.
I think I did. Yeah, they're just
Yeah,
cool.
it's just I think there was a magazine here and I was just doodling basically.
Awesome.
I didn't know that was visible. I'll have to clean up my skull.
No, I was going to say nobody asks about the tiny little skull you keep, but
I was loving it. It was like the working. It was like
Yeah.
we're in your studio here.
Like little
Yeah.
shrunken head.
Hey, does anybody know the illustrator Thomas Eritzman?
Sounds-
Yes, absolutely.
Ray, you know his work.
Yeah.
So I ordered. He just put together a book of his drawings, and
Oh, he did. Wow.
can you see this?
Oh, whoa.
So I open it up, and this is in here, and I'm like, that sure does look, feel, and taste like a real painting.
Is that a painting?
Yes,
Oh my God.
right? And it is stunning. I mean, I don't know how it looks on camera, but it is.
It looks incredible.
Yeah.
So he is that an acrylic painting?
Yes.
I don't know, man. How does he?
Yes. 01 and 02 October. But man,
Wow.
Who's the artist?
yeah. I was like, I messaged him. I'm like, do you need more money or? And he's like, no, that's my gift to you. I was like, okay.
Wow. Wow.
That's
See,
amazing.
isn't
is
it cool
awesome.
to have friends who are artists?
Yeah, what? I didn't catch his name.
Thomas Eritzman, really phenomenal.
It's I'll see if I can text it in.
Very cool.
I'm going to give a note to the audience. At the end of the night, we always go through social and check out work. And so please be sharing your work tonight, please. But I do have some bad news. For whatever reason, John and I in our region, still Instagram will not let us look at hashtags because of the election. They think that apparently John and I, as Kansans and Missourians,
Oh, you're susceptible.
yes, it seems that they believe we could very easily both be duped.
No, I think it's both that we both have, we've shared emails with Bill Sienkiewicz.
yeah. No.
Hashtag the real Polish guy.
No, but for whatever, I can't look at any hashtags. It blocks all of my hashtags. It drives me nuts. Yes, Erica. Yeah, no. As if I am a child, they said you can't have hashtags anymore. We're in hashtag timeout. So,
But we'll be looking at Facebook later on.
yeah, so we'll be looking at Facebook. So point of the story is please post your work to Facebook. Still post it on Instagram because other people can see it. It's totally regional. That I'm pretty sure most people can still see it.
So wait a minute. So you guys, you're not allowed. You literally can't look at hashtags. You can't search for hashtags.
They just tell us not to, and we follow the rules, Dale. No,
No.
no, you're right, Dale. Sorry, I was being cryptic. They just block it. It just, I'll read it to you. I'll read what it says. I mean, unfortunately, it's because of the spread of outrageous, like, false information. But let me see what it says here.
I've warned Timmy so many times and he just does not listen.
I know.
He
It
keeps
says
proliferation of awful information.
it says recent posts from all hashtags are temporarily hidden to help prevent the spread of possible false information related to the election.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Don,
I've never heard of it.
It sounds like Don. You're gonna have to check too, because it says somebody just said it's in Michigan. So.
Oh, really? Well, that kind of makes sense. I haven't really been on a lot the last couple of days. So.
Somebody said, I didn't know that they could do that, and my answer would be they don't have any rules.
Yeah, it's like a company.
Also there's no precedent. You know, they're like, wait, I didn't know you couldn't do that.
Well, my attitude is always,
Yeah.
what am I going to do? Get my money back?
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh no, yeah. Well, I find it interesting. It's like, you know, the largest property rental organization in the world right now doesn't own any property. Airbnb. Largest largest transportation company doesn't own any cars. Uber. Largest media company don't actually own any media, but we produce all of it for them. I mean, how interesting is that?
That's amazing.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with that information, but
Well, you know what, Timmy, you just
yeah.
blew minds. That's all.
I just, whoa,
Yeah, totally blew.
whoa.
Tell us more, Timmy.
Yeah. I like to think of myself.
That bomb
as,
you dropped auto-corrected Dale's camera.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Somebody just said, mind blown.
Timmy's the sage of the illustration isolation.
I like to think of myself as,
The wise sage.
the Steve Jobs of free drawing nights.
No, I think you're more of a
Wozniak?
No. You haven't invented anything. You're more of like a teller. So not a
Like
Malcolm
a pen and teller?
There.
Yeah, not a Malcolm
Yeah.
Gladwell, but like a
Like a poor man's Malcolm Gladwell.
well, you'd be really poor man's, really poor.
like box house. Yeah.
Like dead, you know.
Like dead. Yeah.
I like the Steve
Thanks,
Jobs
Dale.
analogy.
Dale, thank you. That means a lot.
It's still a lot closer than me, so you know.
Yeah.
I think the Steve Jobs is a perfect
Dale,
analogy.
but Dale, you can shred. So
Not
that's
anymore, unfortunately. I could at one time, not anymore.
somebody said the Yoda of illustration isolation.
Ooh.
I would say only that because my hair is on track, and I identify with his height. So same hair and body type.
I thought you said Steve Jobs because you yell at people a lot.
No, I was saying that. No, I was saying somebody said I was the Yoda. No, I don't yell quite as much as Steve Jobs did.
You are really cryptic, you know, whenever you're trying to instruct us on something. So
I
can
do
see
find
where you
myself posing kind of with my fist and thumb in front of my chin quite a bit. But
Gotta get the black turtleneck thing going.
if I bought everybody Visual Arts Passage turtleneecks,
Oh wow!
would that sell? You think?
What is this now? Like Timmy's little cult?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want everybody to dress like me. No.
That actually would be funny to do. You know, we talked about T-shirts. We should do turtlenecks.
Turtlenecks would be great. Yeah.
It'll be different.
Uh,
Hey, Ray, I saw that you were talking about Thomas Blackshear's video.
Yeah.
I was watching that. First of all, the one, not the Mark Twain one. Is that Ken Norton, or is it a boxer that he did, the African American guy?
Joe Louis?
Oh, is it Joe Louis?
Which one?
It looks like a boxer. The towel around his waist. He just
Oh. Yeah,
Anyway.
I don't know. Yeah.
It just did the head, but I watched that, and then do you know the painter Daniel Sprick?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
Oh, I saw something he did as well, and Blackshear's video is like an hour long, and he just busts out this mind-blowing, version of a golden age illustration portrait, with the gouache pick out and all that stuff, and just mind-blowing, like boom,
Yeah.
suddenly
Yeah.
it's alive. And I love Daniel Sprick's work, but I'm on I just watch it while I just do other things. And
Does Sprick have a video?
what's that? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm on like hour 3, and we're still blocking in the head. You know what I mean? And I know what it's going to look like. It's going to be mind-blowing, but
Right.
talk about what a real professional illustrator can just bang out. Here's this material. What can you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just an unbelievable facility with things, and it's just it's just that I don't know how to describe it. Like it's like he's got such a, just especially with like gouache pick out one, it's like controlling chaos, in a way that it's almost like he's just constantly, like illustrators are in constant motion, and so it's like, how do you keep moving and hope for the best and make sure that you're going in towards the direction of a finish,
Yeah. It just I was just really struck by, I know this is the fine art thing. It's going to look fantastic. It's
Right.
amazing, but just busting
Yeah.
that out in an hour. Oof.
Yeah, and you could see like his the process. Have you seen the process one yet?
I don't know. Who's the subject? What's the?
It's that he goes through his sketches and how he does references and how he does like
Oh no.
it's incredible, and it's like I think it's my favorite out of the group. I love all the videos, but I think the process one is like, wow. And he's doing that. Like he ends it by doing like an acrylic underpainting, and like the way he's describing stuff, I'm like, oh, he's literally doing a 19th century color lay-in and eboche. Like it's literally the same thing, and the finish is like super refined. He shows like pictures after he finished it off, and he's working on two of these types of images at the same time, and he's got like 3 other in the background, and the man's just like a machine, and yeah, I mean, I think it's a testament to kind of like the different types of training that certain artists go through, because I know a lot of fine artists, and they'll spend a month on just setting something up, like just a still life setup.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure Daniel Sprick was probably working fairly fast for his speed, for
him,
that demo.
I think so. Yeah. And I thought about Chris too, and just it's just amazing what some of these guys are able to achieve in such a short amount of time, really just because of years of having to meet a deadline.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's like a really just this kind of focused focused energy. You know, it's a focused endeavor that they have. They don't. They just they have to have like a mind. As illustrated, it's almost like you have to have your before you start to finish. You have to have a finished view of the picture in your head.
Yeah,
you
you've
know?
got to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what like Laxer he talks about, like, you know, because he's basically just doing this for like, he's talking about his stuff, and he's you know doing Western art now, and he's like talking about all the preliminaries that he does, and why he goes through it, and then he says, you know, he says I don't have a lot of time, so my and he credits his illustration career. He's like, I was an illustrator for you know 14 years, and I had deadlines, and like I couldn't waste time. I didn't have enough time if something didn't work out to start over. And that's and so like that attitude, like he says, so if it's going to be finished, if it's going to the board before it goes to the board, it's got to be worth it for me.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And yeah, it made me feel really like I didn't that I need to do more of that, you know.
Ray, remember what he said in the demo that he did for us is some of his imagery, he dreamed it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about that. That's just
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I mean, we went through drawers and drawers and drawers, stacks of studies and things all the way back to college that he had done. I mean, he went through a lot of those steps because he went to Chicago Art Institute, and
Right.
he went through a lot of the steps that you're talking about in development. And, you know, he can approach in a really academic way, but he seems to put it aside, you know, to get someplace fast. But he reverts back to it. I mean, he'll go back to that, and which I think is really cool. You know, he'll go back and, you know, start things like you know, the demo he did for us. You know, it's just a alla prima painting.
Yeah, and he's after I looked at, I remember that talk, and I remember just walking away and telling, you know, after the talk, I was still talking to Tyler Jacobson was there, and he was, first thing I said to him, I'm like, man, that is an artist if I've ever, you know, came across one. Like that is someone who's like, he's an artist. It's like it's a laying down of kind of the craft in like in the same way like Chris is. It's like that process of like, you see them working through something, and it's like, wow, this is you know, this doesn't happen by accident, you know. And that's the way like Thomas is, like, just like you were saying, stacks and stacks of preliminaries and stuff. And I've heard the stories, I've heard legends of all this stuff, but like to see him go through them and have just a video dedicated to that, I mean, it's really impressive. And it really kind of makes me think like, okay, well, what am I doing to make my endeavor, you know, worth it, you know, for me? Because I think that it just goes to show you that this stuff doesn't happen by accident, you know. And it's great for students because it shows them that, like, you know, Thomas Blackshear, who's been, I mean, how old is Blackshear?
I think he's 65.
Okay, so he's 65 years old, and he's still going through that process, you know, of thumbnailing, reference collection, doing studies, pushing his reference, combining multiple references, doing color studies, you know, laying in his picture, transferring the drawing properly, you know, like all of these things. He doesn't have to go through that if he doesn't want to, but it's like the only way. He says that's the way he feels about his artwork, you know. And you know, if it's like, well, if it's good enough for Thomas Blackshear, it's obviously, you know, probably should be good enough for me, you know. But mind you, it's like that's I should say, like, to wrap around with Dale, what you were saying was about like Daniel Sprick kind of it's just a longer burn time, just how long that is versus like with Blackshear just busting this thing out. I also think it speaks to like wiring in a sense, like if you could, and how an artist is, because I don't know if I could be, I've romanticized about spending like a month on a painting, and if I've ended up doing that, it's for the wrong reasons. It's because I just had no direction on it, and it's like just
thrashing. Yeah, thrashing isn't quite the same.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like also figuring out how one sort of thinks and learns, but there's just as an artist, like you can't, especially if you're trying to make this a livelihood, just working efficiently is like the key. It's and learning good fundamentals. And I mean, you're not going to learn how to bust out a portrait in like a Chris Payne, like a double portrait in 5 minutes in between us like trying to figure out how to get the other reference on the screen.
Right. Yeah. You learn it just through grinding, basically.
Right.
Getting through
And you don't learn that without obviously knowing how to draw the head. I mean,
right. Hey, way to promote! Nice job.
And so if you want to be Chris Payne, Thomas Blackshear.
Take my class, that's right.
Brought it right to the product. Excellent work.
Yeah. Chris Payne, Thomas Blackshear, Ray Bonilla. Either of those. I mean, they're synonymous.
That was a clinic right there, man.
It just happened organically.
It's awesome.
Yeah, but those are a lot of fun though, Dale. Those are a lot of fun. And I love Thomas Esterman's work too. Like it's like that stuff is really powerful stuff. He studied, he did a lot, he spent some time with Odd Nerdrum.
Yeah. I've been looking at a lot. Like one of my bucket list items is the BP Portrait Award show.
Oh yeah.
And I saw he got in that, and so I was like, oh man, another illustrator. I gotta do this.
Yeah. I feel the same way about that.
You can do it, Dale. You can do it. That's what I'm just keep telling you. You can do it.
I like your attitude, John.
You can do
it. Jesus.
The BP, like the have you heard about like the submission process for that? It's pretty crazy.
It's not like the society. You don't just send stuff in and hope for the best.
No, you have to hand deliver the artwork.
Well, that's not bad.
So you have to go to London.
Yeah.
And hand deliver the actual artwork and then sit there. So, but what most people do, because they can't all fly to London, is there's a service that you can have. You can hire an art handler to act as a proxy to submit the artwork on your behalf.
You know what? We had a student maybe this past year who did that. And I'm finally putting two to two together. I was like, BP, it's sponsored by BP, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. She hand delivered it there. Yeah,
that's
really
good.
Really
great reason for a trip.
What's that?
That's a good reason for a trip.
Yeah.
When we can do that again.
Yeah.
Right. You want to swing by London? I got to drop off a piece of artwork.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty a pretty cool thing to do though. It's like, I gotta can't make it John, I can't make it to drawing night this week. I've got to go to London to draw.
You've got to go just for a quick stopover. Yeah. I know ours. Do you know Felicia Forte by any chance?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's in Detroit. Yeah. Felicia was in the BP portrait. She got into that show and she's awesome. And I think got an award of merit or something like that. And she went, and I heard an interview with her talking about like how awesome that was. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, how could it not be awesome?
Yeah.
I don't know if an American has ever won it though.
Phil Hale has been in it.
He's been in it, but has he won it?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, like the grand prize, right?
The grand prize, yeah.
I think, didn't Phil Hale win it? I thought he
I thought
did.
he won it.
Oh, maybe he did.
Oh,
I know he got. He was the first American. Wasn't he the first American to paint a prime minister? Or am I making that up? When
I
he
think
did Tony
that's
Blair.
right. He caught hell for that too.
Yeah, it's the greatest portrait ever. It's so good. It
Well,
was so good.
I mean, it's no Lucian Freud's portrait of the Queen. I mean,
No.
that was like I was surprised he wasn't thrown to jail.
Yeah, I know.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, you should see some of it, like, as the Queen, by, I guess I don't know if it's by law or by whatever it is, has to spend money on portraits of her. So most of them she doesn't see past like the unveiling.
Oh, okay.
And so she probably saw that once and said, all right, sweet, we'll just give it to some museum or something like that. On to the next one. I got about 7 more today.
Right.
You know, because yeah,
One.
Ray, I just like the idea of the Queen just going, sweet. Sick.
Mad portrait skills.
Yeah,
good.
sweet.
Oh, glad you like it, Mom.
We got 2 minutes. Boy, I got no answer on that.
I need 2 minutes.
I
I'm
need
kidding. 2 minutes isn't really going to do anything here.
Yeah, me either. I'm
That's a tough one.
That's why I gave it to Dale, because I knew he could handle it.
He even tried to sabotage his camera too,
No.
and he still was able to finish it.
Dale, what's that little face up above your pad?
Was that a doodle painting on a phone thing, or?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Oh, I was messing around with.
Copper or
Oh, copper.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
this is like my
What?
scratch pad for copper.
Shut up.
Well, no, I was trying to figure out how to do it.
Shut up. That's amazing.
Got into it.
did you prime it or before you painted it on that? Or?
No, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I sanded it here with like 2500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I realized the problem I was having was it's so reflective
Right.
that
Yeah.
getting values is tough.
Yeah.
Dale, can you bring that real close to the camera? I'm just curious how, that glare is tough. It's so cool though.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
You know what, Don, I saw that there's an amazing portrait on copper at the Detroit Museum.
By Mario Moore.
I think it was his mother. I don't.
Yeah, it's of his mother. Yeah, that was one of my first students when I came here to teach.
Oh,
Mario,
that piece blew my mind.
Yeah, he's great. We have him back on occasion to speak. And
What's his name, Don?
Mario Moore.
How old is he?
He's probably like his early 30s now.
Oh wow.
It's been a little over 10 years since he was in that first group of students that I had the honor of teaching when I got here, and he's terrific. His mother's an artist too, and it's that portrait that you're talking about is of her, Sabrina, and she's one of my favorite people. They're both terrific, and Mario went back to.
That's awesome. The work's beautiful.
Yeah, he's doing some really interesting work, and he just recently did a virtual guest artist presentation for us here, and he actually came back as, you know, as a painter. He didn't come back necessarily, you know, another department had him here. But what I really loved was the fact, yeah, I think that's of his grandmother.
Yeah,
Um,
this was incredible.
yeah,
It didn't look like
Yeah.
it didn't look like he sanded anything. So I was just trying to figure out what he was doing. And
he explained it in his presentation. You know what? I'll email him. I from time to time, he and I talk via email or messenger or whatever, and I'll ask him, because he did explain it in his presentation. But he really, what I was really happy with is he gave a lot of credit for, you know, what, you know, his skill building and all that good stuff from, you know, his background in illustration. So yeah.
Somebody asked, Mitch Hines asked, what would be the benefits of working on copper?
oh,
No,
that's what I was wondering.
I don't know.
to be honest, I don't know.
You can come up.
Worst case scenario, you can scrap it for
You could,
Well,
for
you
pretty
could
good.
get some return.
You can get, yeah.
best case scenario, you know, you can come up with something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from what I've heard, because I've known some artists that do it, have painted on copper, and they say just the painting on that super warm undertone is like, it's hard to replicate because it's so rich in orange, you know, which I'm sure you're getting that, Dale, like that, like kind of like that. Once you put a paint down, it's like, wow, this is actually really rich underneath it.
Yeah. Once you kind of get one layer on, it's a little better.
Are you working in
Yeah.
oils on that, or?
This is oil, and I was,
Yeah.
again, this is a scratch pad. So this was acrylic.
Oh wow,
And,
the acrylic handles pretty
I
well.
tend to go, you know, oil over acrylic.
Oh, okay.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Are you just doing your underpaintings in acrylic? Is that what you do? Or
Yeah. Just because I just want to get to it. You know what I mean?
yeah, that makes sense.
So there's a brand called Artifacts. Have you ever heard of that? They make like
Yeah.
so they make like they have canvas mounted on aluminum panel, and they also make copper panel. And if you've ever wanted to talk to someone about that, like prepping it, because I know like you're supposed to wash it down with alcohol, I think, and some people lightly sand it and then just paint right on it. But I might be remembering that incorrectly. There's and I just threw it in the chat. The owner, Anton O'Hanlon, is like an extremely one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever met in my life when it comes to supports. His father is forgot his name, but is known for like his being the top sort of researcher in materials and stuff, being like archival and things like that.
Oh, wow.
He goes around the world giving lectures, and he runs his own. What is I'm like now I'm blanking on this here. Links about. So anyways, Anton will you know, because he makes those panels, so he's one of those, like, he's old. He's not that old. I mean, I'm in my 30s. I think he's younger than I am, but he's one of those old school guys. Like, hey, call me up.
Oh, that's cool.
And the number's right there, and you could just call from 9 to 4 Pacific Standard Time, and he'll pick up.
That is awesome. Really?
Yeah, and so we did we had like a show with at Ben Gallery in Denver, and they did a show where everyone did stuff on their panels, and he had sent us all emails saying like, hey, is anybody, you know, what do people want in terms of what's your working method? And it's like and I wanted to mount my like drawing prints with Map Medium onto this thing like I usually do. And he said, well, why don't you give me a call and we could talk it through. And I called him up, and he answered every single question I had, and we went through things, and he was like, yeah, looks good. He's like, if you want to do this, you could also try this and X, Y, and Z. And this is what I do. And,
Wow.
he's great. His father's name is George O'Hanlon.
So what's his name again?
His name, so his name is Anton O'Hanlon, but his father's name is George O'Hanlon. And George O'Hanlon is like the, let's see, he runs, oh my goodness, why am I blanking on this? Natural Pigments. Have you ever heard of Natural Pigments?
No.
That's like that's all archival pigments. It's like, we're talking down the rabbit hole here, people. So
That's cool.
yeah, it's he would have a heart attack if he found out that people here were using tar probably on the paintings, you know. But anyway, so that will I threw everything in there, so just in case, you know. Mind you, I mean, I'm like, hey, you know, if it sticks, you know, it's worth it. I'll paint on it, you know.
Yeah.
So Mitch followed up and said, I Googled it and it said copper is more durable. It can also double as a weapon. No, it's like, it is hard. Yeah, it's more durable. That's funny. You could use it as a shield.
I knew an artist by the name of Richard Murdoch who painted exclusively on copper, and he swore by it. He said the paint sits on it like nothing else.
Really? Kathleen, Bill Carmen. Did you see that come in, Ray? Bill Carmen
I just
paints
saw
on
it.
copper.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Huh.
Has anybody ever painted on the aluminum panel?
Yeah, I've tried that.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of shenanigans going on. I mean, the David, is it Casson or Casson?
Yeah.
Isn't he painting on like a mirror or something?
You know, I don't even know. I've never seen his paintings on mirrors. He paints on aluminum panels. I know that because he's actually one of Artifex's sort of artist ambassadors.
Oh, okay.
But I've seen people paint just on mirrors. What's this? I'm just looking at this. I might have been an illustrator, but he's a portrait painter.
That seems kind of vain.
Yeah.
Is that why? And the benefits are obvious.
Let's see. Now you got me going down a rabbit hole here.
Marshall Arisman does some beautiful paintings on copper too. They're like
Mitch corrected his message and said durable in that it's mildew resistant, no mildew resistant to insects.
Sometimes
Okay.
like that.
Yeah. So Dale, all that'll be anti-insect. You got worry about you. Hey,
it's
as
especially
an artist. This is like Call 1-800-COPPER. Like I'm trying to imagine this. Like,
Can't leave it in the lawn.
Are you just sick of insects getting all over your paintings?
Mitch said you can leave it on the lawn. You can leave
Call 1-800-PASSAGE.
Oh, good. Well, and then also the copper panels, like the aluminum panels, they don't warp. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
So they're completely stable. So they don't. You won't have any
point.
cracking or anything like that.
So you could probably, if you paint in oil, you could. These would probably survive the dreaded flood in your basement.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they
Would
wouldn't
they really?
flex. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, oil's not.
Yeah.
Water's not doing anything to oil, right?
Yeah.
As long as the support doesn't expand or contract.
Right. Not the way I do it. It doesn't. Yeah, so it doesn't. Mind you, I paint on wood panel, but
Well, years ago, Timmy and I tested many different demos and what would happen in water.
Holy shit! I'm sorry. That is just the most amazing. ridiculous thing ever. John, take it. It's worth telling. That was, man.
Timmy's
Yeah.
dad, Timmy's dad, Tim, was convincing me. It's like, John, we got all this warehouse space at the fulfillment center for his printing company. You need to move all the academy equipment down there.
I'm gonna reframe this. Nobody really liked having our stuff there.
Yeah. Well, but it was a request of your father. He asked me.
It was because it had to be moved from the print.
Yeah, that's right.
He was just moving stuff around.
So anyway,
Yeah.
we move everything down there, and the 1,000-year flood happens at the Trayvon Fulfillment Center. And they get
Oh
9
my
feet
God.
of water.
Oh no.
And so
Yeah.
we
Oh, that
went-
was a nightmare for Trayvon printing. That was because that was their warehouse for paper.
right.
Oh,
It was devastating. But John, I remember going there with you because we were kind of the last to go through. I mean, it was this river went up, flooded the whole warehouse, and then it looked like the water went in there and kind of lifted everything off the ground to where it was floating inside, shook it up, and then just dropped it down where it was. And I remember, John, we were going up the steps to this because the first floor was like 6-7 feet off the ground. You know, it was a loading dock, so like 5 feet off the ground, I guess.
Remember what we ran into?
Yeah, and it was like, I wonder if it's gonna, I wonder how bad it's gonna be. And John looked down at the ground and he goes, "I don't think this is good." And there was a fish next to his foot. And it was like, oh no.
So I immediately I took a photo of it and I sent it to the chief executive officer at the time of Trayvon. He was a very nice guy. And I sent it to him and I said, "Can you believe this?" And he said, "Yeah, we were in there for the last 2 days." He goes, "Watch out for the snakes."
Oh wow.
That was the worst.
Yeah.
So John and I always talk about the folding tables for the Illustration Academy. The bane of my existence are these like 6 foot long folding tables. Are they 8 feet long?
6.
6. They're heavy enough as is, but folding tables, when they get full of like 30 pounds of water, are brutal.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
So
Oh my God.
And that was
That
a
is
fucking-
that was a real bootstrapping chapter of the academy, because most people would be like, "We just need to go buy new tables." I was like, "We're going to dry these things out. We're going to power wash them." So
Okay, so we're over on our time, and
Alright.
we should probably
yeah, it's getting late.
It's getting late. We should get to the Facebook stuff here.
Let's do it.
Timmy, are you capable of showing that, or you want me to?
I'm not.
Okay.
I am not. If you saw my room, it
While
looks
you're
like I'm-
while you're walking around the
Yeah.
room with showing people
Yeah.
work, I will get to Facebook and hopefully not share anything I don't want to.
yeah.
Have you gone around the room with people's work?
I actually have it on grid. It's
Oh
great.
yeah, so we don't have to. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just share. Here we go. People are posting quickly.
And I'll just somebody posted today, so I'm in regards to this, and so I'm just going to quickly say we try to comment on everybody's work, but But if we don't say something about your work, it's not because it doesn't mean anything. There's just so much work. We want to see all of it. So if you keep attending these things, eventually you will get a wow or great.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. But don't take it personally. It really is just, we want to be able to see everybody's work. So.
Okay, so I'll start off. I really don't care for this one very much. So this is a wonderful piece.
Yeah, it's gonna get real. It's gonna get real now.
And I'm totally kidding because I can do that because this is such a good piece. It's a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
Great drawing.
Oh, that's cool.
We've had, I'm always just blown away at so many different interpretations of everything. Uh-oh, Addie. Oh, no, Addie's liking that. Okay, I was going to say Addie's
Laura.
not working digitally. Very nice, Laura.
Somebody says roast us like Gordon Ramsay. Oh, that's great, Addison. That's funny.
That is hilarious.
No, we're not going to do that.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's great.
Jonathan.
That's really cool.
Wow.
Ah, nice.
Sandra.
Very nice.
Talk about getting to it and doing it quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
in
Yeah,
there.
nice painting. Oh, wow.
Cool.
That's cool. That's fun. Randy, really nice.
Yeah, I love that.
Man, so many good ones.
Oh, I like the way that the figures in the background behind that one too.
Oh wow, nice
That
solution.
was nice.
Yeah.
That was a nice one, yeah.
That's nice too. Way to go, Brandon. You're a nice group of them.
Look at that, the montage.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Breaking it up.
Very good, Laura.
Nice.
Cool.
Good one. I mean, there's a lot going on in that photograph.
Oh yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
to draw.
Got a lot of equipment.
That's nice.
That's
cool.
great. Nice.
You go. Very
Oh.
nice.
Oh yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. All on the same page.
Hey, Addie.
Nice.
All right. I like the aura around his head.
Yeah,
That's fun.
that's great.
That's really
Nice.
a tough one to to dig into. I certainly needed more time.
Oh, that's nice. Like the sepia.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
I just realized I missed 2 drawings. Holy mackerel. Aaron, nice one, Aaron.
Oh,
That
that's
looks
really
great.
Yeah,
Fun, right?
a litho kind of feel to it.
Yeah, totally.
Erin just knocked it out of the park on a assignment she did for Dale and I in portfolio class.
Yeah. So good.
Great work.
This is nice.
Yeah, I love it.
Really fun.
Nice monochrome on that.
Nice, Gary.
Gary.
Yeah.
Gary's a good drawer.
Yeah.
Whatever, Gary. Thumbs down.
Yeah.
Look at all these. This is crazy.
That's a really good one.
That was
Yeah.
on fire.
Beautiful folds.
Brian.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Hey.
Nice.
Really recognizable Brian Lutz.
Yep.
Yep.
You know it's his stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
We'll give a free portfolio review
Oh,
to
Real
to
good
any-
one.
to whoever gets this artwork to these guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Whoa.
Oh,
Whoa, whoa.
Dang.
there you go,
Yeah.
Paul.
That's cool.
Roberto.
Roberto, the Tom Splash collector.
That's right.
Oh man.
That's excellent.
Every time I see Roberto, I don't know if my camera's on. I go, look, I got one too.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
That's fun. I like the design of the rivets across here. It's nice.
Yeah.
You know, actually,
That's great.
I got to look at that again. Hold on. My favorite part of that is the drawing of this guy back here. That's really
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
terrific. Well, very good, Michael.
Nice.
Oof.
I forgot to mention that Alexander Jefferson, the last individual we drew, talks extensively in that documentary about drawing. Was like one of his saving graces of being in the POW camp. He like drew everything.
He recorded everything with the drawing. And
So they have these collections of all of his drawings from when he was there.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow, the fact
So
that those even made it
full
out.
circle.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
No, that's nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that texture on that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
That's really nice.
Very nice.
ooh, really nice, Sherry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go back. That's a good one.
It's beautiful.
Dang.
Super simple. Man, it's all there. Good one, Jonathan.
Nice, Jonathan.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
There
The
it
champ
is.
is in the house.
that's
There
awesome.
it is. Time to get schooled, folks.
Wow. Rodney. Very nice. Man, a lot of good drawers in here.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Nice
Chuck.
one, Chuck.
Oh, nice one, Chuck.
Wow, this is nice.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow. Really like that.
Excellent.
Ooh,
Good, Addie.
Yeah.
That's different, buddy.
wow.
It's nice.
Addison
That-
says, Ray, were you going to say that?
Yeah, but you could
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Ray.
That is, it said two people you don't want to follow up: Chris Payne or Felicity.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Amen to that.
That's nice, Rebecca. That's nice
Yeah,
drawing.
that's nice.
Oh, man.
There it is.
There it is. Queen of Thursday.
Jeez.
Okay. The absolute most identifiable artist in the room. She wins every time. You always know whose piece it is. And that's
Yeah,
saying,
look at that line on the left, that strap. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, that's cool.
Why can't I do that, guys? What's wrong with me?
because you learned how not to.
Right, right.
Yeah, I know, right?
Ooh,
That's
That's,
nice.
that's really nice, Anthony. Oof. Good one, Anthony.
That's a killer one.
Yeah. Really.
That is good. Kind of reminds me of like
Yeah.
Pratt's putty knife drawings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I like that handsome
Yeah.
flyboy. Handsome flyboy. Sub caption is, well, hello, handsome.
Very nice, Elena. Very good. Okay, did I miss something?
Oh, that's cool. Well, that's part of the story.
Oh, yeah.
So that's his wife. That was
I
his
didn't,
wife.
but I didn't
Snuck
recognize.
in- snuck in Mildred.
I didn't, not very nice. I didn't
A
remember.
little bit of imagination. Yeah.
Whoa, good one. Nice, Marcy.
What about a orange?
All right, Randy.
Nice.
That's good. Oh, wow.
There we go.
Good one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that first pose, you could do like a full-on illustration with it. Yeah, like that. There it is.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
that's awesome.
Oh, wait.
Jenna.
Hey, Ray, I was just going to, he's like doing digital work, and he did the second pose. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
This is crazy.
He did two great ones.
So this is crazy. Jenna just shared a link that is totally Mildred. I spent like 3 days, like not full time, but a lot of time looking for a photo of Mildred for reference. And then Jenna shares this awesome photo, like found it 10
So we
minutes
both got
after you
we
guys,
both got showed up, Timmy.
like during a live broadcast, found it in time to draw it.
All right, Ray, I just had to. I couldn't help it.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I'd be angry if you didn't, John.
I didn't finish the drawing all night long, so you beat me up.
I'd be angry if you didn't.
Oh, that's fun.
That's really cool.
Nice, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Wow, good one,
That's
Andrew.
great. That's great.
Really nice. Good drawing.
Excellent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
John, before the end of the night, follow that link. It's a great photo.
Okay, when we get done with you, I'll
Yeah.
go to the link.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice
That's
one,
so
Randy.
cool.
That's awesome.
I love the jacket.
Yeah, look at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, look at that.
Hey.
Age 9. Good,
There
Cassandra.
we go.
Really good.
Very cool.
That's the Visual Arts Passage shirt. Is
Yeah.
someone's drawing and then age 30, 32.
I'm gonna start doing that on
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, I said I would do that until next year, which because
Yeah.
mine changes from a 5 to a 6.
You're running out of time, John.
I know. Well, I only I only have 45,
A couple more
40
Thursdays left.
45 days exactly.
Yeah.
This is nice.
George is already a 6, right?
Yeah, in October.
Yeah, last month.
Wow.
Ooh, that's a nice drawing.
Good
Yeah.
job. Man, nice, Roberto.
Excellent.
Roberto. Owner of the
Get all
Thomas
that
Bike Shoe.
gear and stuff on his,
Very good.
parachute and stuff. It's fun.
I was loading the.
I don't remember that pose.
Can it work these two?
I was
Wow, Ben. Wow, Ben. Way to bring comedy to a serious evening.
it was Timmy's favorite movie.
No, these are suggested. All right, John, you're rolling you're rolling the dice now.
Okay.
Dude,
Okay, get me out of here. Get me out of here. Hold on.
I just got that.
John English, the evil Knievel of screen sharing. Just keep going.
It's that scene in Deer Hunter with Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah, God. Just keep clicking. Just let's see what happens.
Oh no.
I'm going to that link.
Uh,
Oh, I found it. Yeah. Want me to share it?
Sure, yeah. Everybody should see it. It's cool.
You trust me?
I mean, yeah.
No, but go ahead.
No, but no, but I
You're probably
figured-
going to share it anyway, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Great photo.
It's a dynamic photo. Yeah.
That's so cool.
All right, man, this was a fun night.
This is a fun one.
That's good.
All I will say is if John and I put half as much work into preparing the next illustration isolation, our online school will probably go out of business. So tonight was a special night, and I'm glad we did it. So thanks.
Yeah, and many thanks to Terry for coming in. Chris, thank you so much for drawing. I know you've already left. Raymond, you're awesome. Appreciate you doing this with us. Don,